Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, the Committee of Public Property and Public Works is now in session. Would the clerk please read the title of the bills and resolution?
Bill number 140229, an ordinance amending Chapter 16-800 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Philadelphia Affordable Housing Opportunity Zones by designating the Allegheny Avenue, Roosevelt Boulevard, and Erie Avenue Affordable Housing Opportunity Zones pursuant to the 1,500 New Affordable Housing Units Initiative, all under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 140275, an ordinance amending Bill number 130946, approved March 12, 2014, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to purchase from the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development a certain tract of land together with the improvements thereon situate in the area bounded by 46th Street, Market Street, Haverford Avenue, and 48th Street, known as 4601 Market, under certain terms and conditions, to include an economic opportunity plan under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 140800, an ordinance authorizing the Public Property Commission on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to accept from the School District of Philadelphia title with certain approximately 0.81 acre parcel of land known as 3600 North 11th Street, all under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 140885, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the City of Philadelphia enter into a lease with the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development for the lease of a certain parcel city-owned land on the south side of Baltimore Avenue between 39th and 41st Streets for further sublease, all under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 140897, an ordinance authorizing the Procurement Commission on behalf of the city to enter into a concession agreement with Titan 360 Outdoor LLC for the provision of a coordinated street furniture and advertising program and approving placement in the right-of-way of such street furniture, all under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 140940, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to convey to the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development all or part of a parcel of land located at 2600-26 North 3rd Street for further conveyance under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 140946, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to convey to the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development all or part of a certain parcel of land bounded by West Wildy Street, Leopard Street, Richmond Street, and North Front Street for further conveyance under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 140949, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to convey to the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development all or part of a parcel of land bounded by Tulip Street, East Tucker Street, Memphis Street, and East Albert Street for further conveyance under certain terms and conditions. And resolution number 140915, a resolution approving the 2015 proposed strategic plan and disposition policy of the Philadelphia Land Bank.
Thank you. First, I'd like to recognize that we do have a quorum that is present, and to my right is Councilwoman Janie Blackwell and Councilman David O. To my left, Vice Chair Councilman Greenlee, Councilman Nielsen, and Councilman Squilla. With that, is there anyone here from the administration that wishes to testify on Bill number 140275 today? Good morning. Would you please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony?
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on the Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Collins Greenwald, and I am the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. I'm here today to testify in support of Bill number 140275, an ordinance amending Bill number 130946, which was approved on March 12, 2014. Entitled, An Ordinance Authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to purchase from the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development a certain tract of land, together with the improvements thereon, situate in the area bounded by 46th Street, Market Street, Haverford Avenue, and 48th Street, known as 4601 Market Street, under certain terms and conditions, to include an economic opportunity plan under certain terms and conditions. The 4601 Market Campus will provide co-location for the police and health departments currently located in structures that can no longer adequately service their evolving needs. The police headquarters building will be relocated here from its current location at 7th and Ray Streets. The medical examiner's office, currently located at 321 University Avenue, and the public health laboratories, currently located at Broad and Lombard, will also relocate to this campus. Early exterior and roof renovations will commence in April 2015. The campus development and building renovations will commence in January 2016 with the scheduled completion date of January 2018. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill Number 140275. I am requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for the first reading at the next session of council. Thank you. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. I just have two quick questions. Is there any discussions on what will become of the property of 7th and Race, as well as the University City and Broad and Lombard?
Yes, the plan for the city is to sell those properties once our employees are out.
Is there a timeline on getting them out to market?
Well, we don't plan on having construction ending till 2018, January of 2018, so around that time, we would start the discussions on how we would actually sell the property.
Has any work begun in 4601?
Selective demolition work has begun, so they're actually gutting the building right now.
Okay, great. I have no further questions. The chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for all of your work on this project. To members of my committee, certainly we have to legalize us having an EOP plan, and that is why we have this hearing today. We've been having major community meetings. We've already had a few. We will continue to have regular community meetings on this issue. It's one of the most important in our city and major in my district. And certainly, we hope that the committee will support this legislation, which really calls for adoption of an EOP plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Is there any other questions from members of this committee? Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify on Bill Number 140275?
Hanford Jones, that's who's coming.
State your name for the record and please proceed with your testimony.
Honorable Chair and members of this committee, my name is Hanford Jones. I formerly worked with the NBC for 17 years. I wasn't there as a city employee. I worked. This project, I've asked under the Pennsylvania Right to Know law who the minority and female firms are on contracts that have been awarded. Commissioning services. This is on 4601 Market, which the Public Property Commissioner was just testifying on. And as it relates to 4601 Market, contracts have been awarded, conformed, and people are getting paid. And I requested under the Pennsylvania Right to Know Act to the Law Department, OEO, and other places, asking for who represented the actual firms signed on documents to represent black, minority, and women businesses. And I have not gotten it. On eContract Philly's website, there were 2 contracts on the soft cost sides, commissioning services, that were listed as being awarded, but the minority business information wasn't on that. It's not able to be seen on the OEO annual report yet because the quarterly report time period for when that's to be reported isn't up yet. So, in other words, the point is we don't know who the minority and female businesses are on the projects that have been awarded for design, construction management, project management, commissioning services, owner's rep, and there may have been one other. There's also been a demolition contract awarded through the procurement department, Public Property Capital Programs Office. That was over 6 months ago. Still don't know who the minority and female business people are because they won't release it until the annual or quarterly reporting period. So I'm just asking that a plan is one thing, but those services I just spoke of, folks have signed contracts with the city law department. Those contracts have been conformed, and they're getting paid mobilization money. and we don't know who the black and minority and female businesses are. And I would pray that this committee, upon receipt of that, publicize it so we can see what that distribution is with the blacks and minorities and female businesses that are on these contracts that have been let to date for soft cost services, and the one public works contract for demo services that's been awarded.
Well, thank you for your testimony. If I can ask the Chair or the Commissioner of Public Property to please answer the request in writing to the Chair and circulate it to the committee members. Thank you for your testimony.
Let me comment. Let me say that we thank Hanford Jones for trying to keep up on this and major projects in our city. And we think it would be great to submit the information to him and to the committee, and that keeps everything open and satisfies everybody involved in this project. It's so major that all the eyes looking on it, the more the better. So we thank you for your interest in this issue as well, Mr. Jones, and same for you, Mr. Ali.
Hey, Mr. Ali, good morning, and you were here to testify on Bill number 140275. Can you please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony?
Good morning, good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Public Property and Public Works Committee. My name is Jihad Ali. I'm a citizen of Philadelphia. I'm here to give testimony on Bill 140275. You know, I really want to come up and make a comment and thank the councilwoman, because this issue of inclusion in the city, although a lot of times I've given testimony here before, this council has done a tremendous effort to ensure that there's inclusion of disadvantaged people on these projects. However, when it leaves outside these doors, it's all bets is off. When we employ these construction managers, their thing is a divide and conquer. They tell the building trades, well, we're gonna do building trades, and that's the main point. The point is we need an EOP plan because we need to be able to give the community a sense that we can monitor this project. The Office of Economic Opportunity, in my opinion, is the worst thing that happened in the city of Philadelphia. Because of all the projects that have came through this floor, almost 300 projects, not one project, not one report is online that gives what the results of these millions of dollars that we put in these communities. So we really have a game where we're playing a game. We're talking at the beginning of these projects about participation and transparency. We use all the words that sound honorable: participation, inclusion, equity. But at the end of the day, there's no report. As Councilman Jones has said numerous times, if we can track it, we can see it, we can find a solution. So what they've done is beat us at our own game. What they do is they bring in an outside manager and give or outside compliance agency, and they give them the reports, and then the reports are on call whenever they need them. But we, the citizens, we shouldn't have to jump through hoops to see how these dollars are being spent. So you're our representatives, and we're here because we have faith in the system. So it's through the efforts of people like yourself and Councilwoman Blackwell that we'll be able to monitor this project. But it is something that needs to be done. Thank you for allowing me to testify.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali. And certainly, as I just said with regard to Hanford Jones's testimony, in a project this big, we can't have too many eyes look on it to make sure nothing has been overlooked, and that everyone who would like to know what's going on with the project, so that they feel that they can see all that's happening, so that certainly inclusion is what it should be, and so that the neighborhood gets all the jobs it can, and we do the right thing by tax dollars as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify on Bill number 140275? May I ask the administration to please approach the table and proceed with your testimony on Bill number 140940.
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Collins Greenwald, and I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. I'm here today to testify in support of Bill number 140940 an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to convey to the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development all or part of a parcel of land located at 2600 to 26 North 3rd Street for further conveyance under certain terms and conditions. Comhar Incorporated, whose principal is Nicholas Mano, will purchase this property for $79,800. The property will be used to expand Comhar's current business by providing parking. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill Number 140940. I am requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for the first reading at the next session of council. Thank you. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, are there any questions from the committee on this bill, on Bill Number 140940? All right, I just have a few questions. Anybody else on the committee know anybody? Okay, why don't you proceed with the next, with the testimony on the next bill, 1409, or is there anyone else from in here who wishes to testify on Bill Number 140940?
Hi, my name
Please
is
state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
my name is Nicholas Mano. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Comar Inc. I wanted to just clarify that I am not personally purchasing the site, but Comar Inc. is purchasing the facility for their operations in the area. What it is when we moved into the area, we serve about 2,400 individuals at that site. And one of the recommendations or requests from Councilwoman Sanchez was that we provide as much off-street parking as possible. And we were using that lot for our facility and for our operations. Subsequently, it went up for sale, and not knowing who a potential buyer would be or what it would be used for, we felt it would be in our best interest, both as an organization, the community, and Councilwoman Sanchez's request to purchase that lot and continue it as a parking facility for our operations to provide as much off-street parking as possible and work with the community in using it.
Oh, well, I have a question then. Have you been working with the councilwoman and the community, with making sure that the community participates in their concerns and issues such as parking? Have they been addressed?
We have worked with and talked with Councilwoman Sanchez on the facility and the lot. We will, if this proceeds forward, work with the community and talk with the community and utilize it as best as we possibly can on off-street, on off-hours time.
Well, I certainly would suggest you're working with the district council person, with the community, trying to make sure that its impact
Yes.
is not going to be, put in anybody in any kind of, aggrieved, position. So I mean, it's important to work with the district council person and the community. I do have a question for
That's our
public
intent.
property. Who is the agreement with the city? Is it Comar, or is it this gentleman personally?
Sorry.
Yeah, as I testified, it's with Comar, and Nicholas Mano is the principal, so it's with the incorporation. It's not with him personally.
It's with, okay. Okay, great.
So yes, that's our intent.
And I believe somebody from the 7th Councilmanic District is here today, so I would suggest.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Maria Quinota Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Comar, as he mentioned, there are a lot of people that get service there. 3rd Street, one of the reasons why this parking lot is important for them is they're on the American Street corridor, and so what we wanted to do was minimize the level of residential car parking on American Street and move it to 3rd Street so that it doesn't impact the industrial corridor that's on American Street. So this works, and we've agreed to notify the neighbors, and Comar has agreed to allow some of the residents who've historically parked there to continue to park there during the evening, non-business hours. So we think it's a win-win. We keep parking off of American Street for the industrial zone.
Well, great, thank you for clarifying.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify on Bill number 140940? Anyone else from this committee? Well, thank you for your testimony. Would you please proceed with your testimony on Bill number 140946?
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Collins Greenwald, and I am the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. I am here today to testify in support of Bill number 140946, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to convey to the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development all or part of a parcel of land bounded by West Wildley Street, Leopard Street, Richmond Street, and North Front Street for further conveyance under certain terms and conditions. Core Equity IV LP, whose principal is Tom Farrell, will purchase this property for $1,250,000. The property will be developed into a mixed-use building including retail space and residential apartments. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill number 140946. I am requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for the first reading at the next session of council. Thank you. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have a few questions. How does the sales price compare with the appraised value of the property?
It is the appraised value.
It is the appraised value? All right, were there any other bids that were received on the property?
How many? One other bid.
One other bid. Has Core Equity LP developed any other properties here in the city that you're aware of?
I am not,
property?
but I believe Mr. Farrell is here. I could ask him to step up if you'd like. I'm not really sure of their history, but if you would like him to step up.
Sure. You state your name for the record. And
It's Tom Farrell.
Tom, how are you? Thank you for stepping up. So just, you heard the question.
I did. So I'm not really the principal. It's Michael Samchuk is the principal. I'm an employee of the company. Yeah, we have developed a lot of properties in the area. We own 4 or 5 blocks in the surrounding area. We just did a 225-unit apartment building. We're redeveloping a 140,000 square foot retail complex right along Delaware Ave. We've done a 135,000 square foot office building.
Okay. And what is the time frame for this particular project as
So
far as your
it's part of-
construction time frame?
Yeah, it's part of a bigger plan. We're going to use it for parking temporarily as we develop the rest of the area. And then once we complete a bigger parking structure, we'll be converting that into the retail and apartments. So I would say it would probably start within a year to 2 years.
So you're waiting for letters of, letters of intent from the bigger construction master plan, or is this going to be phased in over? So how long do you anticipate to phase in, with the parking, the use of this property?
I mean, I think we would start using it in parking probably in the next 3 to 6 months, and then start to develop it probably a year to a year and a half after that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Is there any questions from the members of the committee regarding this bill? Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify on bill number 140946? Would you please proceed with your testimony on bill number 140949, Commissioner?
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Collins Greenwald, and I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. I'm here today to testify in support of Bill Number 140949, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to convey to the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development all or a part of the parcel of land bounded by Tulip Street, East Tucker Street, Memphis Street, and East Albert Street for further conveyance under certain terms and conditions. Cedar Street Homes LLC, whose principal is Michael Tomaselli, will purchase this property for $280,000. The property will be developed into 7 single-family homes. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill Number 140949. I am requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for the first reading at the next session of council. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is the property being used for anything right now, or
It's
is it
vacant
vacant?
now. It's vacant now.
Vacant. Okay, thank you. Any questions, members of the committee? Seeing none, anyone else here to testify on Bill Number 140949? Seeing none, next bill we'll take up is Bill Number 140800. Who is here to testify? Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please identify yourself and proceed.
Yes. Good afternoon,
A
Chairman.
little closer to the
Sorry.
mic.
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and committee members. My name is Stephanie Craighead. I'm the Director of Planning, Preservation, Property Management for Philadelphia Parks and Recreation. I'm pleased to appear before you today on behalf of the department to testify in support of Bill Number 140800, which authorizes the Public Property Commissioner on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to accept as a donation from the School District of Philadelphia that conveys title to the city to a parcel of land known as 3600 North 11th Street, also known as 11th and Benango Playground. Philadelphia Parks and Recreation has operated the 11th and Benango Playground for the last 8 years. Improvements have been made to the playground, including the installation of playground equipment. The department has maintained the playground and conducts program. Additional funding has been committed to improve the playground's role as a public play and community space. Therefore, I appear before you to pledge support of Philadelphia Parks and Recreation for this legislation and respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill Number 140800. In addition, I respectfully request that this committee vote this bill out with a favorable recommendation that the rules be suspended to permit first reading in the next council session. Thank you. I would be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Craighead. Any questions? Seeing none, is there anyone else? Thank you for your testimony. Anyone else here to testify on Bill Number 140800? Seeing none, we now move on to Bill Number 140229. I think Ms. McCulloch.
Good afternoon, Councilman Heenan and other members of the Public Property and Public Works Committee and members of City Council. I am Deborah McCulloch, Director of Housing. I'm here to present testimony on behalf of the administration on Bill Number 140229, which would establish the Allegheny Avenue, Roosevelt Boulevard, and Erie Avenue affordable housing opportunity zones pursuant to the 1,500 new affordable housing units initiative. The administration shares Council's commitment to create a wide range of affordable housing opportunities and to strengthen Philadelphia's low and moderate income neighborhoods. We also share Council's goal to maximize available city, state, and federal resources to transform vacant public and private properties into affordable rental and homeownership housing units. For this reason, the administration is committed to working with Council President Clark and the sponsors of Bill Number 140229 to create affordable housing opportunity zones in designated neighborhoods throughout Philadelphia to facilitate the development of affordable housing. We look forward to continuing to work with City Council staff and affordable housing stakeholders to maximize all available resources to create and preserve affordable rental and homeownership housing opportunities in these zones and throughout the city. Thank you for the opportunity to present this testimony. I'm happy to answer questions you may have.
Thank you. I have a quick question. I know we've had, and there's been plenty of discussions about the zones at public property hearings back in June. and it was told to us that council needs to establish affordable housing opportunity zones first, all right, which we have, and then attempt identifying the resources to build them. Has OHCD, has there been any resources that have been identified for possible funding streams in these zones?
Not any new resources, the usual ones that we present to you every year as part of our consolidated plan process: federal, community development block grant, home funds, housing trust fund earnings, and so forth.
And that it's all...
It's all part of the
It's all
same.
part of the plan for the opportunity zones?
Yes.
Okay, great. Does any member of the committee have any questions? Is there anyone here wishes to testify on bill number 140229? Deborah, thank you for your time. We will now hear testimony on bill number 140885. Is there anyone here that wishes to testify on the bill? Please proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the committee. My name is Andrew Stober. I serve as the Chief of Staff in the Mayor's Office of Transportation and Utilities, and I'm here today in support of Bill 140885, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to enter into a lease with the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development for the lease of a certain parcel of city-owned land on the south side of Baltimore Avenue between 39th and 41st Street for further sublease, all under certain terms and conditions. This area is commonly known as the 40th Street Portal, or where the trolleys emerge from the tunnel that offers access to University City and Center City. The Mayor's Office of Transportation and Utilities, SEPTA, and the Department of Public Property have worked closely with the University City District for the past few years to create an opportunity at the 40th Street 40th Street Portal to create a fitting gateway to West Philadelphia, an improved pedestrian experience, and a vibrant neighborhood public space. The UCD has a strong track record of partnering with the city and others to develop and maintain dynamic public spaces that welcome residents, commuters, and visitors alike. City Council has approved a $200,000 city capital investment in the project. This city investment will leverage $1.8 million in private, foundation, and state funds. The city's agreement with UCD ensures that all standard city requirements, including public bidding, an economic opportunity plan, and the application of 21st century wage standards, will be part of the lease. I respectfully request that the rules of council be suspended to allow for first reading at the next session of council, and I'd welcome the opportunity to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State your name and proceed with your...
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Matt Burkheiser, and I'm Executive Director of University City District, a nonprofit organization that helps to foster a more vibrant neighborhood. Thank you to Councilman Heenan and members of the committee, and I am especially grateful to Councilwoman Blackwell, without whose partnership and leadership this and so many other critical projects simply would not be possible. Thank you, Councilwoman. I'm here today with Andrew Stober and with my colleague Prima Katari Gupta to talk to you about the 40th Street Trolley Portal. And what I'd like to say about it is that it's a site that has long captured the imagination of the West Philadelphia community. As Andrew mentioned, it's located where 4 out of the 5 SEPTA trolley lines that run through our community emerge from the ground, and it's an acre of bare concrete surrounded by a vibrant West Philadelphia. Within a few weeks of starting my job in 2009, I was approached by members of the community to see how we might improve this site, and a letter stating the widespread support of the community and the deep interest of the community in this project is included in the materials we provided. The lease we are asking you to authorize and the project that my colleague will describe is the culmination of years of collaborative work between community members, SEPTA, the city, PIDC, and our organization to transform the site into a community asset.
Good afternoon. My name is Prima Katari Gupta, and I'm Director of Planning and Economic Development at University City District. The project we're presenting is the happy result of several years of partnerships and collaboration. Fortunately for everyone, no one is particularly attached to the trolley portal in its current state, and an image of the existing conditions is in the packet. It is a derelict and isolated expanse of concrete. The neighbors want the site transformed into a beautiful and lively community gathering space with benches, trees, and shrubs, and a cafe. SEPTA was more than happy to work with us as long as safety concerns were addressed, namely the complete intermingling of pedestrians and trolleys in the track area, as well as lighting upgrades. I think that they're also very happy to have a maintenance partner for the site, and we are very proud of the standard we've set at the Porch at 30th Street Station, as well as other public space projects throughout West Philadelphia. We worked with a landscape architecture firm to come up with a design that transforms the site into a vibrant and social public space, featuring trees, movable tables and chairs, native horticulture, artful lighting, and boulders for creative play. The site will transform into an amenity for residents, area workers, students, as well as transit riders. In addition, improvements will greatly improve safety by rationalizing pedestrian circulation, enhancing lighting, and providing a great many more eyes on the street. As Andrew mentioned, the improvements cost approximately $2 million, and we are close to being fully funded through roughly a 50-50 split of public and private sources. We have worked closely with the city and have an economic opportunity plan for construction. We are eager to start this project and are very grateful for your time today.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. Certainly, we are asking the committee to support this venture. Frankly, this team, led by Matt Burkheiser, has been the best we've had for UCD, and they do an excellent and thorough job in their commitment to the community. So we are happy to support this project and certainly ask the committee to do the same.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Stober, your testimony states that the cost of the project is $2 million. Is SEPTA contributing anything to the financial end of this project?
SEPTA is not contributing to the financial.
According to the lease agreement, the UCD is responsible for majority of the premises?
That's correct.
What isn't being maintained by UCD under the agreement?
So the tunnel itself, what's not being maintained by UCD under the agreement are all of the things that SEPTA felt it was important for it to continue to maintain. So all of the SEPTA, all of the poles that have the catenary, all of the area around the tracks, and the tunnel itself are going to continue to be maintained by SEPTA.
So the cafe is going to be generating some revenue. Will UCD receive any portion of that revenue, or is that going to the general fund?
Yeah, so the way the agreement is structured is any revenue that is generated from the cafe will have to be reinvested based on improved costs in the pedestrian plaza and maintaining that. Anything beyond that, I don't recall it with me, but there would be a split with the city and UCD. We don't.
It's in the agreement.
It's in the agreement. Yeah.
Great. When do you anticipate the start of construction, and what's the timeline on it?
Sure, I'll let UCD address that.
Our hope is this spring we'll be able to start construction if all goes as planned.
Okay, and starting in spring,
Spring.
ending in spring?
It would probably take about 12 months of construction.
Well, it's okay, great. We appreciate that. Appreciate your time. Is there any members of the committee that wish to ask any questions? Anyone here today that wish to ask any questions or testimony on bill number 140885? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
What's this? Oh, okay. Ready. For the record, I'd like to note that there is a letter of support that's been submitted to the committee on the project that is submitted on the record from Spruce Hill Community Association. We will now hear testimony on bill number 140897. Is there anyone from the administration that wishes to testify on this bill?
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the committee. My name is Andrew Stover. I'm Chief of Staff in the Mayor's Office of Transportation and Utilities, and I'm here today to testify in support of Bill 140897, an ordinance authorizing the Procurement Commissioner on behalf of the city to enter into a concession agreement with Titan Outdoor for a street furniture and advertising program and to permit the placement of such street furniture in the right-of-way. I'm delighted to bring before Council for its consideration a proposed concession agreement that would benefit tens of thousands of Philadelphia commuters each day, improve our streetscapes in neighborhoods across the city, generate additional revenue for the general fund, expand our long-standing program of deeply discounted advertising for arts and cultural institutions, and create significant long-term opportunities for locally based minority and women-owned businesses. And candidly, I would not be here today were it not for Council's insistence that the city pursue opportunities to expand the number of transit shelters that serve our citizens and grow general fund revenue. The core of this 20-year agreement is an approximately $12.4 million investment by Titan to replace the approximately 300 existing transit shelters across the city and add approximately 300 more shelters. The shelters, which will now include benches, lighting, and transit signage, will be installed over a 5-year period along transit routes throughout the city, with multiple shelters installed in each council district in each year of the installation period. And the shelters and kiosks, which you'll see renderings of shortly, and other physical elements of the project, are designed by Digsaw, an award-winning Philadelphia architecture firm. Beyond these 600 shelters, the agreement calls for the installation of 100 arts information kiosks, replacing the poorly maintained honor boxes in Center City with beautifully designed and professionally maintained honor box condos and kiosks, and the opportunity to install benches at transit stops that do not have sufficient demand to support a transit shelter. The arts information kiosks will be an instantly recognizable and iconic and guaranteed home for the public promotion of the city's nonprofit arts and cultural institutions. The kiosks will hold standard bus shelter size ads and have at least one side dedicated to arts and culture promotion. The pricing of these ads and the administration will be handled by the Center City District through their existing program. In addition to providing the significant capital investment, Titan will pay the city both a minimum annual guarantee and a percentage of its gross revenues from the program. The minimum annual guarantee will pay the city no less than $52 million over the term of the agreement, which is 20 years, and the share of gross revenue is anticipated to total another $47 million, for a total of $100 million. Titan has a strong track record in Philadelphia. This agreement doesn't just provide for installation, but also contains strict maintenance standards and enforcement provisions to make sure that the city and the public get and keep the high-quality program we've negotiated for. Titan has also built a reputation for exceeding its commitment to minority and women-owned contractors. This contract includes an economic opportunity plan that anticipates that 80% of expenses being paid to minority or women-owned businesses. At the city's sole discretion, the contract allows for the city to join others around the world in converting static bus shelter panels to digital panels. These digital panels, if allowed, would be appropriate to the environment. They are contractually restricted from displaying video or any rapid animation and would be required to stay within city-established limits for brightness. 10% of all advertising time on digital panels, should they be allowed by the city, would be dedicated to public service announcements, including arts and cultural information. This contract affords the city the opportunity to replace decrepit transit shelters with world-class amenities designed right here in Philadelphia, while generating numerous other benefits for the city. I respectfully request that the committee amend the ordinance to include the full concession agreement and report the bill with a favorable recommendation, and that the rules of council be suspended to allow for first reading at the next session of council, and welcome the opportunity to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Stover. The amendments have been circulated, and they will be addressed in our in our committee meeting. Would Scott Goldsmith from Titan please approach? You can stay there. No. When you are ready, would you please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony?
Scott Goldsmith. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of Titan. Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the committee. My name is Scott Goldsmith, Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer of Titan. I am here in support of Bill 140897, an ordinance authorizing the Procurement Commissioner on behalf of the city to enter into concession agreement with my company Titan Outdoor LLC for the provision of coordinated street furniture and advertising program, and approving placement in the right-of-way for such street furniture, all under certain terms and conditions. Titan is a media company that helps municipalities develop solutions through innovation and advertising. We're unique in the out-of-home industry because our focus is firmly and exclusively on transportation advertising. We sell and market to people in transit, a demographic that advertisers and brands are anxious to reach. Titan is the only company with a national sales force exclusively dedicated to the sale of advertising for cities and transit authorities. We are leading the industry in innovation and will bring it to the City of Philadelphia if awarded the concession agreement. Titan has operated in the City of Philadelphia since 2005. We served as SEPTA's advertising contractor since 2005 and the city's bus shelter contractor since 2011. We maintain a fully operational sales office and operations facility in the city and employ 43 people, the majority of whom live in Philadelphia, and those are all full-time employees. We are also a national media company with offices in 13 markets and 125 additional sales and marketing executives exclusively focused on selling advertising for our municipal partners. Titan has paid the city more than $5.5 million since 2011 in connection with the existing bus shelter concession, including more than $2.2 million in overage payments. In formulating our proposal, it was very important to Titan that we hire a local Philadelphia design and architecture firm to design the street furniture. We believe that Digsaw, and there are renderings just to the right, have designed street furniture that will be both physically attractive and robust throughout the 20-year term. Jules Dingle, a Digsaw partner, is here today to answer any questions you might have. Titan prides itself on directly employing an in-house operations staff that will ensure that street furniture is properly maintained. We are committed to ensuring that all of our shelters are cleaned and serviced on a regular basis, and the contract is quite clear on our obligations. We are also proud of our commitment to clear snow from the shelters within 24 hours of the last snowfall, and all of our operations employees are members of DC 31. Titan is proposing a turnkey solution that comes at absolutely no cost to taxpayers. In addition to providing a significant capital investment of approximately $12.4 million, we will pay the city both a minimal annual guarantee and a percentage of the gross revenues from the program. The minimum annual guarantee will pay the city no less than $52 million over the term of the agreement, and the share of gross revenue is anticipated to total another $47 million for a total estimated payment of $100 million over the 20-year term. In addition, Titan is the leader in providing digital networks to transit municipal authorities. We operate over 2,000 digital displays on transit properties and municipal properties. It is revolutionizing the way in which advertising is delivered, as it generates significantly more revenue for our partners, and it allows municipalities the opportunity to deliver relevant and emergency messaging to its citizens. We estimate that the addition of digital will result in over $13 million in additional payments to the city. And we are excited at the prospect of installing digital displays on some street furniture, but we also understand that it will be at the sole discretion of the city. Titan's commitment to utilizing minority and women-owned business is a corporate mandate that we take seriously. We have built a reputation in Philadelphia and across the nation of exceeding our commitments to minority and women-owned contractors. We are currently exceeding all of our OEO contractual goals in each of the markets that we operate, including Philadelphia, and we will continue to be proactive in maximizing OEO participation if awarded the new concession. I want to thank Council Members Johnson and Heenan, as well as the Council President, for sponsoring and introducing the legislation. We are looking forward to continuing and expanding our partnership with the City of Philadelphia, and we respectfully request that you vote to approve Bill 140897, and we're happy to answer any additional questions you might have. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your testimony. I have a few questions. So, regarding so there's been a lot of information out there on the capital investment that Titan is making under this agreement, and I don't see anything where it pertains to the maintenance costs. Under the current contract, can somebody tell the committee what Titan spends in annual maintenance costs and how much it expects to spend for the 300 pieces of furniture under the expansion?
Okay. Well, over the course of the last 4 years, we spent approximately $1.6 million in operational cost. And to mention, $1.1 million of that has been with MBE, W, and DBE firms. We expect, obviously, these operational costs will expand as we install more street furniture, so there'll be 600 total shelters. And the contract is quite clear about our obligations. In addition, there is a letter of credit of $500,000 that we are required to maintain that the city can draw down on in the event that we do not do what we say we're going to do. And we are going to expand our operations team. As I said, we have, excuse me, how many? 24 full-time operations employees with trucks, and these are all employed by Titan. And again, they're all union members, and they know what they're doing. They've been doing this for the last 4 years. And we've worked very closely with the city over the last 4 years to maintain and make sure that the shelters, albeit they were an aging infrastructure that we inherited, we're very excited to be working with Digsaw to build new street furniture that will be considerably easier to maintain, because the way it's constructed is meant to, it'll be easier to clean. But we'll have people out to these shelters at least once a week and likely more.
Okay. In one of the packets, I read that the proposed digital signs would have the option of carrying information about SEPTA delays. How would that work, where we would have discussions with SEPTA about this proposal?
Sure. So we would coordinate with SEPTA on working with them to stream information to digital shelters. You're seeing lots of other cities do this in terms of using that technology to deliver a whole variety of public service information, from just regular information like SEPTA delays to emergency information.
Okay, well, it's good to know that it's, we're not just a pilot program here in the city of Philadelphia, but so in Center City, being it's a very active public transit system, and it's robust and it's very dependent upon, streamlining that kind of information. Could you tell me about the maps? And some of the shelters in Center Cities have maps?
Yeah, so some of the shelters in Center City have maps. Those maps were installed by the Transportation Management Association in Center City, which is under the auspices of the Center City District. Those maps would continue to be on the shelters. We've designed these shelters specifically with a place to put maps. We'll hopefully be able to expand, working with SEPTA or with others, to expand maps to shelters in other parts of the city.
So they're going to remain?
They are going to remain.
Great. Do we know exactly what locations of the kiosks along Broad Street, Walnut, Chestnut, and Market Streets?
So we don't know the exact locations of the arts and information kiosks yet. One of the things that's most exciting to me about this program is we are now enshrining this program. So we'll be there for 20 years, and we're expanding the number of panels that are provided. So there'll be a net increase of 50 panels available for discounted advertising available over the next 20 years as a result of this agreement.
Okay, are they the same location? Are these the same locations that kiosks will be replaced?
So they are not going to be, so what's currently out there are bus shelters on Walnut Street and Broad Street and Market East. So the bus shelters along Market East will continue to be arts, will continue to have arts and culture panels on them. The shelters along Walnut Street and Broad Street are a critical part of raising the funds to be having those available at market rates, having the funding so we can provide expanded shelters throughout the city. We're going to be replacing those throughout Center City and other locations at the request of the arts and culture community with these kiosks. When that program was first initiated 20 years ago, obviously Center City looked very different. Walnut Street was the street. That's not true anymore. If you look at the pedestrian volumes on Chestnut and Broad and JFK and Market, they rival those on Walnut Street. And so we'll hopefully help the arts and culture community reach new audiences where they are today, not just where they were 20 years ago.
Is there and you don't have to, if you don't have it with me, you can provide it to the chair, and I'll distribute to the committee. Is there an installation and replacement kiosk schedule?
Yeah, so there's a plan to install them over 5 years. In the first year, 34, and then 16 or 17 in each of the following years. What we have communicated to the Cultural Alliance and others who have asked and negotiated with Titan is that they guarantee to provide the same number of panels during that transition in Center City. So while the Walnut Street panels will be transitioning out, there'll be other panels available at those rates in Center City.
At those rates, what type of visibility? Would it remain the same type of visibility?
So,
with
so
those
they would,
kiosks on the
you know,
street?
I think all of Center City from an advertising perspective is high visibility, and we'll be working hard with both Titan and the Center City District and the Cultural Alliance to make sure that these are in locations where the Cultural Alliance is, you know, reaching the customers it's seeking to reach.
And who sets the rates, the advertising
The Center
rates?
City District sets the rates in this program.
Okay, great. Is there any questions from other members of the committee? The chair recognizes Councilwoman Maria Aquino Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for indulging me. As you move towards the neighborhoods and providing some of these shelters, have any policies been promulgated about how do you prioritize them and how are you coordinating with our Commerce Department where we may be doing commercial streetscape projects?
They have. So we've been working closely with the Commerce Department for the past few years to use some grant funds to install shelters. You know, one of the things that was important from the city side as we negotiated this agreement was to make sure we weren't just installing shelters in the places where they had the highest market price for advertising. So the agreement very clearly lays out requirements for number of shelters to be installed in different parts of the city, and then additionally says to ensure that no fewer than 6 shelters will be installed in each council district during the 5 years, and we'll be working during each of those 5 years, I should say, and we'll be working very closely with Commerce, with council members, with CDCs to coordinate the deployment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great, thank you. Any other members wish to ask? No more? Okay. Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify on Bill number 140897?
Yes, sir.
Would you come forward, state your name for the record, and proceed with your testimony?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Charles Goodwin. I am the Vice President for Governmental Relations of the Center City Residents Association, the regional community organization for Center City west of Broad Street. We were hoping for a proposal that we could be enthusiastic about, but we don't feel we're quite there yet with this proposal, and we're concerned about the rapidity with which this proposal is evidently being pushed through council. We do appreciate that we'll be getting new bus shelters and that many neighborhoods in the city will be getting new bus shelters, but the bus shelters we seem to be getting under this deal seem to be very much 1990s bus shelters, not 2014 bus shelters, or more importantly, 2025 bus shelters or 2035 bus shelters when this contract will end. There's no provision in the contract itself for transit information other than the posting of bus route numbers. In 2014, people who ride buses in this town deserve at least the schedule, and within 5 years, we should have real-time information on all the bus kiosks concerning when buses will be arriving or how far away they are. We can't be in 2035 with bus shelters that don't provide that information. No other city will be in that. We're concerned that whereas most cities, the advertising on bus kiosks is confined to a perpendicular plane to the street, this agreement does not restrict advertising to the perpendicular plane, but allows for complete wraps of the bus shelter and so forth. Needless to say, that brings up concerns about both crime and sanitation, people using the facilities to relieve themselves if they're fully masked from public view. We do not know the extent to which there's been consideration of whether the city could do this more advantageously than contract itself out. I think that's taken as a foregone conclusion, and we'd like to see more thought put on that, both in terms of construction and maintenance. It's our understanding Titan will own the structures throughout the duration of this contract, and we're not quite sure what's going on there. On the newspaper box replacement, well, the honor boxes have become a bit of an eyesore. On the other hand, the weekly free paper is probably a dying technology. And are we going to have streets crowded with these 8-box wide things that are going to be empty 15 years from now or 10 years from now when these papers aren't being printed anymore? About the arts kiosks, this seems to us to be a replacement for the arts advertising on Walnut Street and other Center City streets. We're a little concerned that these will be obstructive of view and make it more difficult for pedestrians to navigate down the streets. We have concerns that the quality of ads is least as regulated in the contract. Do not seem to adequately regulate the ads. As written, we can have pawn shops, casinos, cash for gold, payday lenders, We Buy Homes, and any number of other nuisance advertisers, many of whom are financial interests that prey on city residents, advertising in our bus kiosks, and there doesn't seem to be any way to prevent this very downscale advertising either in the core business district or in the neighborhoods. And certainly, to the extent Walnut and Chestnut Street, our principal functions of those is to have nice people come from out of town and leave their money here. We should keep those streets looking nice so that we encourage people to come in and leave their money behind. Finally, we have some concerns that the financial benefits here as represented, this is just a straight adding up of the guaranteed payments over the term of the contract without any reflection of appropriate discounting, so that while we're hearing that there's a $52 million guaranteed benefit when you allow for a reasonable interest rate, that benefit at 4% becomes about 4% discount rate becomes about a $33 million guaranteed benefit, and at an 8% discount rate, which would be a typical commercial rate, becomes a $22 million present value to that benefit. So in short, we do welcome an improvement in the transit infrastructure. We're not sure yet that this is the deal that we should have, and that instead of putting this through, when the contract was released, I believe on November 25th, which is some 23 days before City Council's final sitting this year, that more study ought to go into this, and whatever arrangements need to be made to extend the current contract an extra quarter or so that we can come up with a contract that is good enough for the people of the city of Philadelphia. And we would encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. I believe our next witness is Katie Bartolo from Penn Future.
Chairman, could I ask you a question?
Oh, sure, certainly. Excuse me, sir. Center City residents, could you please approach the witness stand again, please?
All right, thank you very much,
We have
Mr.
a
Chairman.
question from the committee.
Just for my clarification, are you testifying on behalf of the Center City Residents Association, or are you testifying as a private person?
I am here as a representative of the organization. Because of the late date on which this project has been presented to us, we, the organization, have not yet been able to reach it. We only heard about this on the 11th of November at our monthly meeting.
Okay, will you be sending...
Forgive me for interrupting. The organization does not have a position yet because we haven't had time. I'm here to express the concerns that have been raised in the organization's deliberations at this point.
Okay, so you are here representing the organization. Organization has not officially come to a decision. If you do, you will send a letter to the chairman?
Certainly, and to repeat, we are enthusiastic about the underlying concept. We're not sure that this is the deal that gets us there.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Anyone else from the committee wants to ask any other questions? Would you please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony?
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the committee. My name is Katie Bartolota, and I'm the Philadelphia Outreach Coordinator for Penn Future, statewide environmental advocacy organization. In this capacity, I am coordinating the Next Great City Initiative, a coalition of over 100 member organizations whose mission is to create cleaner, safer, and healthier Philadelphia neighborhoods. As a coalition, Next Great City identifies areas where neighborhood quality of life in Philadelphia can be improved through common sense, low-cost solutions rooted in sustainability. With the strong leadership from the Nutter administration and members of the City Council, the Next Great City Coalition has had overwhelming success in seeing our policy agenda come to fruition. We are currently in the process of developing a new agenda with new action steps for the 2015 mayoral and council races. One of our initial recommendations in our 2007 agenda addressed an issue that was on the minds of Philadelphians citywide, making improvements to transit stops to encourage ridership. Residents found that many transit stops were poorly lit, positioned in front of vacant properties where there was little foot traffic, and had signs that were difficult to read or locate. The city's previous contracts with advertising firms have led to underwhelming revenues and infrastructure improvements that did not address properly the problems that discourage ridership. Other major metropolitan cities, such as New York and Boston, have already had major successes with recent outdoor advertising contracts. New York signed a long-term 20-year agreement that is expected to return $1 billion in revenue over the duration of the contract. The new infrastructure requirements in the agreement will be fulfilled by local businesses, creating 100 new jobs. Boston's forward-looking contract includes the provision that 80% of bus stops will have shelters at the end of their 10-year contract. We are pleased to see that Titan Outdoors proposals provides an appropriate level of revenue and infrastructure benefits to the city, and our coalition supports the effort wholeheartedly. Philadelphia has an opportunity to take advantage of a public-private partnership that could yield impressive dividends, such as Boston and New York cities have already achieved in their respective contracts with outdoor advertisers. Titan's revenue projections, infrastructure goals, and timelines are very encouraging. The proposal submitted by Titan promises a $10 million investment in repairing and adding shelters and kiosks. Titan projected a guaranteed $52 million in revenue over the next 20 years, with a potential for an additional $47 million from the city's cut of sales revenue. Titan has also identified additional revenue sources from digital advertising, as well as from a personal electronic advertising network that would allow users to interface with advertisements from their smartphones in real time. Titan has established high participation rates of women and minority-owned businesses to help fulfill contract needs, and has identified by name the companies that could provide these services. As for design and implementation, Titan has outlined an aggressive remodel and build schedule that has worked with Philadelphia architects and designers, Digsau, to ensure that all street furniture is designed to fit different contexts, for example, narrow sidewalks and high passenger volumes. Public-private partnerships can give Philadelphians attractive public spaces at no cost to the city. The economic and environmental benefits can multiply, increasing mobility through increased ridership, eliminating eyesores by revamping and adding to our shelter and kiosk infrastructure, and decreasing crime at stops where there is insufficient lighting and traffic. By increasing public transportation use, the city lowers its automobile air pollution levels that contribute to asthma and other related illnesses. Penn Future and the Next Great City urges this body to vote this bill out of committee to allow the city to enter into an outdoor advertising contract with Titan. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions from committee members? Chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you. I noted what you said about places where they're not needed, but if any company does inclusion and works with the district council person, certainly we're vital in knowing where they are needed, where our busy areas are, where our commercial corridors and other areas are. So it makes a big difference. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Next witness, Hanford Jones. State your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
My name is Hanford Jones, H-A-N-F-O-R-D. Honorable members of this Committee on Public Property and Public Works, I am formally protesting any award under Bill number 140-89700 to Titan on the City of Philadelphia street furniture contract. As a whistleblower, I forwarded information to the Controller's Office more than 6 months ago detailing fraud and minority business enterprise abuse of the mayor's and city council's efforts to include Black, minority women, and disabled businesses on city contract opportunities. Titan, who is the incumbent on the city street furniture contract, was detailed in addendum number 6 of this competition. for this RFP, which I faxed to Mr. Heenan's office on 11/25/14, as having achieved over 67% of MWDB participation. That's when I discovered the fraud and MBE abuse on this contract. Titan also won a SEPTA contract for over $100 million to provide advertising services to SEPTA, using the same DBE firms in their efforts to defraud the U.S. Department of Transportation and SEPTA's DBE program. Once I received under the Pennsylvania Right to Know law the information concerning the DBEs listed by Titan, I discovered that they listed 2 black-owned firms from Philadelphia who to this day do not know anything about being listed by Titan on the SEPTA contract, which is signed by the president of Titan, nor on this contract. I pray that this committee does not move this recommendation forward until the City Controller's Office releases its review of my whistleblower allegations. I just want to add that I'm waiting for a response from a particular U.S. DOT office, IG's representatives on this subject as it relates to documents signed on federal DBE forms to allege that they met some DBE goals. So I'm submitting this bill to the email for formal record inclusion to this bill. And I just want to add that the ranges for this job were professional services, which I didn't hear any minority or female advertisement or PR firms on their team. There was a goal for construction and a goal for ops and maintenance. And I don't know what the EEO goals were for minorities and women in the workforce. But I would hope that this committee really looks more deeper into what the goals were in the proposal and what is alleged to be submitted now, achieving all these super percents of participation. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And, you know, for the record, the EOP plan has been attached to the contract that has been circulated here to the committee members, and we'll absolutely be happy to provide that to you.
And again, the fraud and abuse was basically on the incumbent's contract, where they alleged in addendum number 6 to have listed all these firms that did not know 2 years ago that they were listed by this very same firm. And as currently as this year, on the SEPTA contract, those same 2 black firms, local, did not know that they were being listed by Titan to SEPTA. So there's a breakdown somewhere in OEO and the DBE office of SEPTA calling to confirm people listed on serious government forms as having knowledge that their business is participating. That evidently wasn't done.
Well, thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm requesting that the committee, he mentioned several organizations, several agencies, that is. He mentioned the Controller's Office, to whom he has submitted information. We have Angela Dalberton, OEO office, and I'm requesting that the committee can do what it wants at this hearing, but I'm requesting that before we do any voting, that on this contract, that we hear from our city agencies, that they check into this matter in the Mayor's Office of Transportation to verify that we're doing the right thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify on Bill number 140897? Please approach, state your name for the record, and you may proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Prima Katari Gupta, and I'm Director of Planning and Economic Development at University City District, and I'm also a resident of Mount Airy. Thank you, Councilman Heenan, for the opportunity to speak in support of the Coordinated Street Furniture Program, as well as to the rest of the committee members, including Councilwoman Blackwell, who makes all of our work in University City possible. Philadelphia has long been considered one of the most walkable cities in America, with its abundant sidewalks and short, lively blocks. However, there is still much work that can be done to make our city more friendly, safe, and appealing to pedestrians, particularly outside of Center City, which is why I'm very excited to speak in support of this program. The Coordinated Street Furniture Program will significantly improve the appearance, quality, and coordination of street furniture amenities for the public by adding new transit shelters, benches, arts promotion, and informational signage, allowing amenities that once existed predominantly only in Center City to be deployed elsewhere. Just the idea of having 300 more transit shelters in the city is very exciting, particularly to those of us who ride buses and trolleys in the rain and the snow. We are particularly excited about the design by a local but internationally renowned firm, Digsaw, which will allow the street furniture to have a distinctly Philadelphia feel. We've had the privilege of working with Digsaw on a few projects and could not be more enthusiastic about this choice. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak in support of this ordinance. And again, assuming that all contracting issues are resolved, we very much hope that it will advance.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gupta. Any questions? Seeing none. Mr. Ali, I assume you want to testify. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Good afternoon,
Let
Chairman.
me ask you, is there anyone else here that wants to testify on this? Okay, why don't you come up and sit, too? Okay, Mr. Ali, go ahead.
Good afternoon, members of the Public Property and Public Works Committee. My name is Jihad Ali, and I'm a citizen of Philadelphia. I'm here today to give testimony on this bill 140897. After having heard the testimony of Hanford Jones and the councilwoman, I think that's an excellent suggestion, because those are serious allegations. Because, see, when we come down here, those of us who are from the neighborhoods, we don't have representation like the fine gentleman that spoke from the Center City District. I mean, he had an excellent presentation. They have an organized body. Well, in these diverse communities, we're not organized like that. What we have is you. We have our elected officials, and we have you to have the courage to say just what the councilwoman said. Hold up, slow down for a minute. Let's see what the other people say. Let's see what the people who have the authority and the responsibility to ferret out wrongdoing, let's see what they say. If they pass, then we welcome them aboard. If they don't, then we need to reconsider, because we can't be, those of us on this side of the table that are counting on you to make opportunities for us, as Dr. King once said. We're all tied by a garment of destiny. Those people that are in those neighborhoods, they're tied by the actions that you take. So, Councilwoman, I want to thank you for having that courage, because it takes courage. Like the guy said from the Center City District, with the quickness, his word was rapidity. But with the rapidity that this stuff moves sometimes, it takes courage to say, slow down. Let me help these people. Let me listen. Because unless you know everything, then you can look on your little crystal ball and know that these guys are squeaky clean. But too many of us in this room have been surprised time after time by people who have let us down. So those are some serious allegations, because it's discrimination. It's discriminating against the people that look just like you and I, Councilwoman. So I support you. And that's the kind of courage that we want to see down here. Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Okay, all right, hold on one second. Ms. Blackwell.
Thank you,
Councilwoman
Mr.
Blackwell.
Ali. And again, we repeat, we mentioned the Office of OEO, Angela Dalbertney, Mayor's Office of Transportation, and we also mentioned what was the third office, and the Controller's Office, as was referenced in Mr. Jones' statement, that we want to hear from at least those three agencies before we make a decision on moving forward. And thank you, Mr. Ali.
I'd like to suggest the Office of Integrity. We throw that name around a lot. Let's see what the Office of Integrity and Responsibility says.
We will add that. So those are four agencies that the record will reflect that we've asked for a response from before we vote for this project by this company. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Hi, my name is John McInerney. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at the Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance. Thank you to Council Members O, Blackwell, Hennon, and Greenlee for giving us the time to testify today. The Cultural Alliance, we represent more than 400 cultural groups and members of the broader civic community, and we're here to discuss the importance of designated space for cultural promotion and the continuation of discounted rates for cultural advertising through the Art in Transit program. As you know, Philadelphia is home to a thriving cultural sector, making national news as an art capital. Last year alone, Philadelphia's nonprofit cultural sector attracted over 17 million visits for over 33,000 productions, films, exhibitions, and other works. As reported in our recent economic impact report, The arts generated $1.1 billion in direct spending and an overall economic impact in the city of $2.8 billion. Further, the sector generates close to 30,000 full-time equivalent jobs and $766 million in household income for Philadelphia residents. But beyond the economic numbers, cultural groups are at the heart of the community, providing not just affordable music, theater, and dance, but access to free arts education, like the Art Splash program for kids 12 and under at the Art Museum, or the free performances by the orchestra and the opera in communities around the city, or the work the Horticultural Society does to bring fresh produce and community gardens to economically challenged neighborhoods that don't have access to affordable, healthy food. What do all these groups have in common? They are nonprofit cultural groups who have used the discounted advertising in the Art and Transit program to support their mission-driven work. Since 1994, Center City District, in conjunction with the City of Philadelphia, has offered the Art and Transit program to provide discounted promotional opportunities for nonprofit arts, cultural, and civic groups. Currently, there are 92 shelter display panels available on Chestnut, Walnut, Market, and South Broad Street for the display of posters promoting upcoming performances, exhibits, and events. The cost of participation starts as low as $40 to $80 a week, depending on the location. These posters are viewed by tens of thousands of people a day, making Art and Transit a very powerful and cost-effective marketing tool. Since its inception, cultural organizations, both large and small, have taken advantage of this program in order to get the word out about their programming. In 2014 alone, more than 35 cultural groups used the program. They include the very large, like the Museum of Art, the Orchestra, and the Opera, Philadelphia, as well as small community-based organizations, such as the 11th Hour Theater Company, Passione Art Day, Quince Productions, and the Philadelphia Arts Collective. Additionally, several community organizations use the program, including Women Against Abuse, MANA, the AIDS Fund, and Philadelphia Fight, who join me here today. Maintaining this program is not only a benefit for the organizations, but helps the city highlight the vibrant arts activity that have made this such an attractive place to locate a new business or relocate a family. And those businesses and residents that come here for the rich art scene directly contribute to the health of the local economy. While we understand that the city is pursuing this contract to raise needed revenue for the city budget and improve the art street furniture, these groups and the Art and Transit program will make up only a small portion of the millions in revenue Titan will return to the city under this comprehensive contract. The program, however, does have a big impact for the groups that use the program, and the proposed changes will have a direct impact on their ability to attract audiences and remain viable charitable organizations. This brings me to the question posed here today, whether to authorize an agreement between the city and Titan Outdoor LLC to allow Titan to manage the city's street furniture and advertising programs. Over the past month, we have been in continuous contact with Titan Outdoor and the Mayor's Office of Transportation and Utilities regarding the plans for cultural promotion in this new contract. We appreciate them sharing their plans for cultural promotional opportunities and their swift responses to our concerns. In this contract, you will find that the discounted cultural advertising will be eliminated from all bus shelters except for 21 shelters on East Market Street and replaced with 100 standalone art information kiosks, with one side devoted exclusively to cultural advertising. The location of this kiosk is yet to be determined. In a letter from the Office of Transportation and Utilities Chief of Staff Andrew Stober, we have been assured that these kiosks will be the same size as the bus shelters currently, and as they're being installed, the city and Titan will commit to having no less than the number of panels currently available. Further, we have been assured that all pricing and administration will be handled by Center City District. Despite these assurances, we still have concerns with this plan and its impact on the arts community. We have not received specific assurances.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I hate
Yeah.
to interrupt, but I think I'm going to have to. We are running up against time. Can you summarize the rest of your testimony? And I'll absolutely submit it in the record.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Our main concern is that the movement of the Art and Transit program to these independent kiosks where we don't know where they'll be located and there's concerns about there being an obstruction for pedestrians will render the program ineffective as it currently is. And we just want to ask Titan and the city to continue to dedicate 10% of the bus shelters on Chestnut and Market that would go away to cultural groups as they've done in Dilworth Park.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lorelei Shingledecker. I'm representing Philadelphia Fight. I'm Philadelphia Fight's Chief Strategy Officer. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. It is a comprehensive AIDS service organization that provides primary care services, social services, and education programs to low-income community members who are living with HIV and those who are at risk. Every year, we run AIDS Education Month, a month-long citywide campaign of conferences, events, and activities to raise awareness about HIV. During this month, we run 2 conferences at the Convention Center that reach almost 3,000 people. We have a hip-hop concert where over 1,200 youth are tested for HIV in exchange for a free concert ticket. We hold events for the faith community, attracting around 600 faith leaders throughout the city. These are only a few of over 15 events that we promote citywide. The increasing awareness of the plight of HIV and how it affects Philadelphia's most vulnerable communities is due in large part to our advertising and promotion through the Art in Transit program. Leading up to and during the month of June, we advertise our programs for AIDS Education Month on SEPTA, targeting the paths most traveled by our patients and community members. We advertise in bus shelters and prime center city locations, not far from our 3 downtown locations. A sizable number of participants during AIDS Education Month hear about and are reminded of our events because of our presence on SEPTA, specifically the bus shelters. I want to emphasize the importance of this outreach because in a very direct way, it helps save lives. Please continue as a vital partner to these efforts to fight the spread of HIV by sustaining the Art in Transit program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Any questions from the committee? Is there anyone else here that wishes to testify on 140897? For the record, I am going, thank you for your time. You can be dismissed. For the record, I want to ask the administration to respond to some of the concerns of the committee. You don't have to approach the bench. If you could respond in writing for the record to some of the concerns and issues of members of the community addressing our participation with this particular contract that's in front of us now. I think not just the community, but some of the committee members here have raised some issues. So if you could, as we proceed moving forward, submit some response in writing for the record. All right, and I thank you for the time. Okay, with no other testimony, we will now hear testimony on a resolution number 140915, the Land Bank Strategic Plan. We have quite a few people who have signed up, and you know, I'm going to say this for the record, and please, I hope that some folks here would respect. We have over 25 witnesses that have signed up to testify for the Land Bank Strategic Plan today. And I want to thank you all for your interest in these issues, for taking the time to come out and share your opinions. And the Land Bank Board are going to make a short presentation, and I say short, to the committee. And then we will call members of the public. And I'm asking that you all help the members of this committee have a productive dialogue by doing the following when it is your turn to speak. Limit your testimony to 3 minutes or less. If you have prepared, do not read your prepared testimony. I will make sure that the written testimony and statements that you prepared will be entered into the record. Instead, clearly state your name and any affiliation that you might have in any interest group when you were called. I've broken the list down into groups. Please listen carefully for your name. If you want to check to make sure that you're on the list, please see my staff back to my left at the table. I want to cut to the chase. All right, we want to know what you like about this strategic plan and want to know what you don't like about this strategic plan. Be specific and concise. Again, name, your organization, what you like and what you do not like. With that, is there anyone here that wishes to testify on the resolution from the administration?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and members of the committee. My name is Michael Kuntz, and I'm the chair of the Philadelphia Land Bank Board. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. Philadelphia has approximately 40,000 vacant properties in the city. Of those, about 1/4 are publicly owned and a little more than half are privately owned, vacant, and tax delinquent. Last year, Council created the Land Bank to reactivate these properties that are in public ownership or that are vacant and tax delinquent. The Land Bank subsequently developed a strategic plan and submitted it to Council. This plan was developed in an open, collaborative, and data-driven process that engaged stakeholders, council, and the public. And Alan Yurick will talk about the role of the City Planning Commission in that process. What will the Land Bank do under this strategic plan? It will acquire, manage, and dispose of vacant and abandoned property. It will combat blight on stable blocks. It will help reverse blight in struggling neighborhoods, support the provisions of affordable housing. It will benefit existing residents and businesses. It will generate economic activity and jobs, and it will strengthen the city financially. Scott Page of Interface Studio will provide more detail on these topics in a moment. It is important, however, to note what the Land Bank will not do. It will not displace people. The Land Bank can only acquire and dispose of vacant properties. It will not create new sources of funding. While the Land Bank can be a powerful land use tool, it is not a means of financing affordable housing, commercial, or any other kind of development. It will, however, leverage its land holdings into affordable units and mixed-income developments. Throughout this process, Council remains a key partner. We're asking you to approve the Land Bank strategic plan and disposition policies, and we look forward to meeting with each district council member to discuss specific properties for transfer into the Land Bank and the potential uses of those properties. I hope you will pass this resolution with a favorable recommendation, and I look forward to working with you and your colleagues to implement the Land Bank. I would be happy to answer questions.
Thank you. You state your name for the record and proceed.
Good afternoon. I am Alan Yurick, Deputy Executive Director of the City Planning Commission, and I'm here to testify in support of this resolution to approve the 2015 proposed strategic plan and disposition policies of the Philadelphia Land Bank. As stipulated in the 2013 legislation establishing the Land Bank, the City Planning Commission staff has played an active role in the development of the strategic plan and disposition policies, and we fully support the plan's approach, goals, and recommendations. We worked in close collaboration with Land Bank and Redevelopment Authority staff to craft the request for proposals for consultant teams to undertake the work. We participated in the selection of the consultant team. We provided much of the base data on which the recommendations of the plan and policies are made, and we were and continue to be integral members of the project's working group that reviewed and contributed to the process and substance of the consultant team's work. More important is the fact that the Land Bank's strategic plan and disposition policies is closely aligned with our ongoing Philadelphia 2035 planning work. As you know, Philadelphia 2035 is the city's long-range comprehensive plan that the City Planning Commission staff are preparing over time, principally through strategic plans for 18 geographic districts across the entire city. Each district plan serves as the blueprint for guiding growth, change, development, preservation, and public investment in neighborhoods throughout Philadelphia. Specifically, the 10 City Planning Commission adopted and in-progress district plans greatly informed preparation of the Land Bank's strategic plan and disposition policies. I should note that each district plan is not prepared in a vacuum. Each plan is built upon a significant amount of public outreach and participation through multiple public meetings, steering committee participation, and social and traditional media to arrive at its recommendations concerning future land use, zoning, and public investment. This civic engagement also served to guide decisions and recommendations of the Land Bank's strategic plan and disposition policies. In reciprocal fashion, future Philadelphia 2035 district plans will be informed and guided by the Land Bank's strategic plan and disposition policies, as well as ongoing public participation. This cross-fertilization between our respective planning efforts has enabled and will continue to enable the Land Bank's decisions to demonstrate, quote, consistency with planning provisions, as explicitly stated in the 2013 legislation. The Philadelphia Land Bank's 2015 proposed strategic plan and disposition policies is an outstanding example of a data-driven planning process resulting in a useful decision-making tool. We recommend Council's approval and look forward to working with you, the Land Bank, and other stakeholders to help implement its recommendations over time. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Page. I'm principal with Interface Studio. We were asked to coordinate the development of the strategic plan. The rest of our team is sitting here in the front, which included V. Lamar Associates as well as Real Estate Strategies. I'm not going to give so much a presentation as really hit the highlights of the strategic plan. Certainly one of the things that we were required to do in this strategic planning process over the summer and fall was to identify what, where, how many potential land bank properties are there in Philadelphia based upon existing data, but also identify neighborhood trends as well as identify priority areas for acquisition or disposition. We called them opportunity areas in the strategic plan. The development of the plan itself involved over 80 organizations in a very short time frame, talking with them about their hopes, their goals for what a land bank can and cannot do, and that was really invaluable in helping to shape the overall plan. And we provided some information and materials to you, but just as a quick summary, we think the land bank is an opportunity to address a couple things. Vacancy in Philadelphia is a citywide problem. There are certainly neighborhoods with more concentrated vacancy than others, but it is a citywide problem, and the land bank is a citywide opportunity to address a part of that problem. And one of the other opportunities is the issue around land assembly, site control. So there have been too many good plans in this city that have been frustrated in the implementation process due to the inability to acquire a vacant, tax-delinquent property that may be surrounded by already publicly owned vacant properties. So we think this is a powerful implementation tool that can be used to support council plans, city planning commission district plans, and neighborhood plans that have been driven by a significant amount of community input and accepted by the planning commission. This is an implementation tool and a potentially very powerful one. So in the process of putting together the plan, using existing data, we identified about 32,000 properties that are what we call potential land bank properties. 8,000 of those are publicly owned and vacant properties. Another 24,000 are privately owned, vacant, and tax delinquent properties. So in an effort to map all of those properties, we then undertook a data-driven analysis to determine what are the potential opportunities for reuse of those properties, as well as for concentration of land bank activity. Where should acquisition occur? Where can we look at potential disposition? There's a number of opportunities I'll just quickly highlight for you. We identified over 1,100 opportunities for what we call individual development opportunities. So it's that one vacant building on an otherwise stable block that for some reason over the years has been difficult to acquire. And that makes for a distinct quality of life issue for those that are on that block, but it's also a destabilizing force. So citywide, over 1,100 opportunities for those. There's certainly been conversations and interest in side yards. There are more than 2,000 side yard opportunities across Philadelphia where we have an individual vacant lot adjacent to a qualified homeowner who could take ownership of that lot. We also looked at opportunities for affordable housing, and of the 32,000 potential land bank properties, almost 21,000 of those are in locations that we think are suitable for new affordable housing, either because those neighborhoods have changed very quickly and there's a need to protect some level of affordability, or because they're good locations for affordable housing due to transit access, access to parks, and other amenities. We've also identified a number of properties and areas across Philadelphia where we think there are an opportunity to extend private investment. So where there is already private investment and interest from developers, there are places within the city that the land bank could provide some property for either new market rate development or mixed income development. We look specifically at economic development, and this is really focused on commercial corridors, looking at the data as well as where we have inventory, potential inventory of land bank properties, potential land bank properties. There are 77 corridors across the city that would benefit by having the land bank play a role in either helping existing businesses to expand or to provide space for the development of new businesses. And we also looked at open space, places in the city where there are opportunities to support existing open space initiatives, protect existing gardens, or to create new open spaces, utilizing the capacity on the ground to do so. So through this data analysis, there's a number of opportunities in the city, including assemblage of property, both publicly owned and private tax delinquent property. There are over 100 opportunities to assemble 11 or more properties for redevelopment. This is a significant opportunity across the city. And we think that the way that the strategic plan is done as a data-driven process is it's really a menu of options. We did not predetermine any use within the plan. We are there to support the existing planning that's been done and to work with council on the end use as is appropriate for each property. So with that, I will say thank you.
Well, thank you for your testimony. Before I ask a few questions, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Maria Quinona Sanchez, and I want to thank you for all your time and your staff's resources that has been put into Land Bank, along with my office and my staff, as well as Council President Clark, in getting to this point. So we look forward to hearing from everybody today. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I will be brief. I do want to thank you for helping shepherd this along. I wanted to just publicly thank the hundreds of advocates, whether you're a member of the Land Bank Alliance or the Take Back Your Vacant Land, the environmental public interest groups who've been part of this, the private sector, GPART, BIA, and others, for helping us get to this point. Since, as this panel has outlined, since the passing of this legislation, I think there's been a lot of thoughtful work in putting together a strategic plan to get the ball rolling. This is by no means the end of the conversation. We're still long ways from having a fully implemented process, but I think the strategic plan is an excellent first step in laying vital groundwork to the work we're trying to do. I particularly want to thank the interim board represented by council, by Herb Wetzel, your chief of staff, Courtney Voss, and Jennifer Cates for helping us work with all of the advocates who've been involved in this. I want to ask the committee to pass this resolution. This is just one more step in what many more steps necessary for us to move what our consultant just outlined, some strategic opportunities, both for side lots and potential acquisitions of what has been chronic nuisance properties in neighborhoods, particularly stable neighborhoods, to ensure that we can repurpose them as quickly as possible. So I continue to look forward to working with you as chairman of this committee, the administration, and my council colleagues as we move this process forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I have a few questions, and then we can move on. Can you please describe, or somebody describe the relationship between the Land Bank, PHDC, OHCD, and the PRA?
Excuse me. The Land Bank is a city-related public agency that is independent for the most part. I'm sorry.
We can't hear the speaker. If you could speak a little closer to the mic.
The Land Bank is a city-related public agency that, for the most part, is independent of the other three housing agencies. It will accept properties from Vacant Property Review Committee and the Redevelopment Authority and PHDC. Currently, Vacant Property Review Committee is at OHCD, so those properties, it's anticipated that the majority of those will move over to the Land Bank. It's anticipated that of the 2,000 properties that are currently at the Redevelopment Authority, the majority of those will move over to the Land Bank. Some will remain because they're income-producing properties, or they will remain because they need better controls and the Redevelopment Authority has the tools to provide those. And all of the properties at PHDC, I would advocate with the district council, each district council person, to allow us to move each of those, about 800 or 900, over to the Philadelphia Land Bank. The Land Bank, going forward, will be the acquisition and disposition arm for the redevelopment for the city, especially as it relates to affordable housing Currently, the funding for most affordable housing is provided through the Office of Housing and Community Development, and it's underwritten by the Redevelopment Authority. The Land Bank would join in that group, and that lots of the properties that are used for affordable housing would be secured and disposed of by the Philadelphia Land Bank. But it's independent of PHDC, OH, and PRA, with the one exception being PHDC, of which we hope to enter into a management agreement that would allow PHDC to actually staff the land bank.
Okay. To what extent is the strategic plan attempting to dictate the end use of particular parcels?
The strategic plan is one tool that we would use. The other tools would be, we would continue to consult with city planning, with existing plans as they're created by city planning, and also with community groups and with the district council person. As you know, no property can be disposed of by the land bank without it first going through vacant property review committee and without a resolution of city council.
And what is the next step for the land bank?
The next step is for us to begin to have conversations with each of the district council folks about properties that they would like transferred into the land bank.
As you know, or you may not know, industrial uses has been something I spent a lot of time and energy trying to preserve and expand the industrial use and land preservation here in the city, because industrial uses in the proper location with the proper dispositions and land preservations create jobs in neighborhoods. And I do not see much, or I don't see anything, with the industrial use in the strategic plan. Can you tell me why?
We would look to leadership of Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation for that, with the possible exception of the 77 or more commercial corridors that we've identified. But that would just be for commercial properties. For industrial land uses, we would still look to PIDC.
That's great. So you'll have that intergovernmental type of collaboration when it comes to that. I mean, just as you had stated with district council members, which is extremely important.
Absolutely.
In disposition as well as preservation.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad to handle that. One last question, and I'll turn it over. Who's responsible for handling the communications and social media and website for Land Bank?
We have a collaboration between the Office of Housing and Community Development's Communications Department, and we've recently brought on board Sage Communications, and together they've begun to handle all communications. And
was it in the budget for Land Bank, for its initial transition?
It wasn't in the original budget. We created a line item in the current budget of about $100,000.
Okay, and I'm sure you plan on allocating certain resources and budget items, line budget items, to continue communication.
Absolutely.
With the website and reaching out to the communities and having a transparent and open communications with the public and the city in general. Is that correct?
Yes,
and I think it's critical as we move forward to communicate with the community at large and giving people the opportunity to weigh in on some open dialogue and conversation.
Right. And one entity that I omitted was the Office of Information Technology. They've helped us tremendously with developing the website.
Great. Thank you. Is there any members of the board? Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This is an old question for me, and that is where we are with the employees all working from all housing agencies with their salary, with their benefits and all that. how that was worked out for the land bank. Because as you know, if a person's ready to retire, then they're transferred, maybe they've been here 24 years, they need to work 1 more year. All those same old employee issues. I wanted to ask where we were in that regard.
Well, I know I've been working, and so there are 3 different housing agencies, PIDC, OH, and PRA, that have been having ongoing negotiations with Local 1971. We haven't reached a final deal yet, but we're hopeful that one will be reached shortly. That will not only bring the contract up to date, but also give us a transition agreement that will allow us to transition employees over in a fair and equitable manner.
Then what is expected of us today since we don't have the employee ends worked out? Where are we now, and how do we protect those workers with regard to moving forward?
Well, I would ask that, similar to previous years when we've been in this position, that we could, that the land bank bill could go forward, and we would agree not to transfer any employees until we had an agreement with the bargaining units.
Thank you, Mr. Gross.
Okay, if I may, for the record, all right, so do you have a transition plan for the current employees with the 3 agencies as you work towards an agreement?
Yes, we do.
You do,
And we've begun to share it with the bargaining unit. As a matter of fact, I've had some discussions even this morning, and we believe we're hopeful that we're very close on an agreement.
So are you closer to, so nobody's going to get laid off on the interim?
No one's going to lose their
So nobody's going to lose their job.
jobs.
Nobody's going to lose their time or their seniority or their health care or pension or anything like that. Are you closer today than you were? Do you feel like you're closer today to an agreement than you were a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
Any members have any other questions? The chair recognizes Majority Leader Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, so much for your indulgence. Quick question. I see the composition of the interim board of directors. That does not include industrial individuals like PIDC or Redevelopment Authority?
It does include Redevelopment Authority. As a matter of fact, current board member Brian Abernathy.
I see it.
Chairman,
Okay.
so Brian is on the board, and we anticipate that there will be ongoing participation from Redevelopment Authority.
What about PIDC, Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation?
We haven't reached a final list of board. Those are board members yet, and so that could still be under consideration, and we can consider that.
Because as Chairman Heeman talked about, he has spent a lot of time on preservation of industrial manufacturing properties in the city of Philadelphia, and the quick conversion often to residential uses is a issue of his. So to balance that, we need to look at folk who are in the business of preserving that kind of industry within the city of Philadelphia to make sure that the highest and best use for a parcel is done. The other question I would have, Mr. Chairman, is how closely will you guys be working with the energy authorities and others so as we start talking about industrial tracts, whether it's American Street or Hunting Park Avenue or other old Rust Belt locations, retrofitting them, as we've been talking about with the Gas Commission issue, or modernizing them so that they might be able to be retrofitted so that manufacturing might be drawn back to the city of Philadelphia because of a modern co-generation facility on these sites. So the question is, will you be working with the Energy Authority?
I think that is, it's not our main priority this first year. Our main priority is to assemble the properties, develop a transparent and equitable disposition process and begin the acquisition process of properties. However, I think while that's going on, there will be ample room and time for those discussions to happen, and I thank you for the suggestion.
So, for the record, Mr. Chairman, I have about a 4-acre parcel right near 52nd and Jefferson. It's abutted by Marion Avenue and railroad tracks on the side. Temporary use, we're talking about vegetable gardens. A little longer-term use, we're talking about expanding a school. At the end of the day, the highest and best use should be something that generates more taxes and things like that. So as we start to make those tough decisions, I need somebody from that side of the world to be represented as well.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Okay, well, thank you for your time. So we have a list, again, of about 30 people who are going to come up here in public. Please keep your testimony short, brief. Highlight your testimony in favor or any of your concerns that you might have to Land Bank. The clerk, would you please read the first panel?
Mario Stagliano, Shane Claiborne, Alan Dom.
And again, if we seem to be redundant, let's try not to be redundant about the same topic and support. But we want to hear from you. Thank you. You could join the spotlight. You state your name for the record and proceed with your abbreviated testimony, which we will submit for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan Dom, President of the Greater Philadelphia Association of Realtors. First, I want to thank everyone for this great, I think, historic event of passing the Land Bank. We are in support of the resolution. We think it's great. You know, if you look at it as a perspective of any company that has 570,000 properties and 8% of them are vacant, the first thing you want to do is put them on the books and get them operating properly. I think it's also a great opportunity, maybe now or down the road, to look at the idea of offering a 20-year tax abatement for homes under $250,000, because this will really help the Land Bank properties and maybe even raise the values of those properties. So the Greater Philadelphia Association of Realtors is in support of it. We thank everyone for their help on this. We think it's a great thing. We also, I will say this, I've been involved in this business for 35 years. I just want to applaud the City Council. You guys are the best I've seen in the last 35 years. So thank you on behalf of GPAR. Thank you.
Thank you. You state your name and proceed with your testimony.
My name's Shane Claiborne, and I'm the founder of The Simple Way and the current president of Simple Homes. We create affordable housing. I've been working in Kensington for the last 20 years. I'm going to make it shorter. You've got some pictures, nice color pictures of some of the restoration we've done in the neighborhood over the last 20 years. But the biggest obstacle to us has been acquiring the vacant lots and abandoned houses to renovate. I'm here in support of the Land Bank because we believe it will remove unnecessary bureaucratic barriers to development in a way that neither displaces low-income families with irresponsible gentrification nor maintains the status quo of abandonment and degradation. The model we use to create affordable housing is a national model that's proved effective, measurable, and scalable in 60 cities around the country and 16 countries around the world. In Philadelphia, we acquire houses for less than $10,000, which makes the Land Bank an incredible potential partner, and we spend between $20,000 and $30,000 to restore them. All houses sell for zero profit, zero interest, typically less than $50,000 a home. Homeowners pay no more than a third of their household income, often $300 or less, and can pay off their home in 10 years, typically for less than they're paying in rent. We finance the homes as a nonprofit through donations and hold a lien on the property to prevent predatory lenders and bank foreclosures. And to renovate the homes, we use a combination of licensed local contractors, volunteers, and the homeowners themselves who put in over 300 hours into their own home. In addition to local labor, we're able to support local businesses with thousands of dollars spent on materials each year. So we have incredible families that are waiting in line to own their first home. We have funders ready to finance the renovations and contractors knocking down the doors to renovate these houses. We just need your help in acquiring the abandoned vacant lots and houses, and we believe the land bank is a great way forward. With your help, we can build a better Philadelphia one house at a time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Next panel, clerk.
Gary Hawkins, Chris Naylor, Nora Listach, and Connie Morrow.
Ladies first, so you state your name for the record and proceed.
Yes,
with
good
the testimony.
afternoon, Councilman.
Sorry, Gary.
My name is Constance Morrow. I'm a lone life resident of Philadelphia. I always lived in the 5th or 7th district. I'm a parent, a grandparent, and I'm a block captain. I'm very active in my community. As a lone resident of North Philly, I always lived in a black community, and they're just not fair. It's 2014 going on 2015. Everyone in the city should have an opportunity to live in a decent, safe, affordable neighborhood, and the land bank should make this possible. I'm here today to say that I'm disappointed that the strategic plans does not include tactics for economic development. My block is one of the famous city dumps because of the vacant lots, and it frustrates me. One day it's clean, the next day it's dirty. The other night I was woken up 4 o'clock in the morning by the sound of a truck. For example, I woke up that morning and went outside, and I saw that someone had backed their truck up and dumped this pile of bricks. Then another man saw the pile of bricks, so he decided to dump his trash too. The hard thing about me living this Blighty is that my grandchildren, who I love and enjoy, brought so much joy to my life, had left my home because they got tired of living in the Blighty environment. And they don't want me to live there either. They're always asking me to move. But I won't move. I will not leave the house that I've been living in for 34 years. Excuse me. As the cost of houses is raising in my neighborhood and the development are rising, I'm looking to see the land bank get up and running. Without real tactics of affordable housing, how would I be able to stay in my community? The land bank originally is committed to affordable housing, but I feel that the strategic plans had not committed to this land uses. By leaving out defined the tactics ensuring affordable housing, you are leaving me and my neighbors at risk of being displaced for lifelong residents. The Philadelphia Affordable Coalition and Development Without Displacement, can I say that again? The Development Without Displacement campaign expect that all parts of the legislation will be held up accountable for transparent and community input. I will be paying close attention to the work of the land bank and announced reforms report. We want to make sure that the committee is included in the tactics in the next strategic plans. Thank you.
Chris Naylor, Political and Legislative Coordinator at United Food and Commercial Workers Union, Local 1776. I'll be very brief. We're also a member of the Take Back Vacant Land Coalition. Don McGrogan, our Executive Vice President, is also on the interim Philadelphia Land Bank Board, and he couldn't be here today because of scheduling conflict, but he did want to commend City Council's work. The Land Bank Board, the strategic planners have done a very good job with what we have so far. Just want to make a very brief point before asking for adoption of the strategic plan today. Some of what Connie said as well, we do believe as we understand more of our inventory, more of the data questions are answered, a lot more unanswered questions, a lot more information is available, that there should be some more specific goal setting around it, but we do believe with what we have right now that we think this is a very good first step, that this shows a lot of things that the land bank can do. We're very excited by this process. Our members, we have a lot of members in Philadelphia very excited by this process. So we are asking for adoption of the resolution today, but as we do understand more about our inventory, what land will actually be in the land bank, some more specific questions will have to be answered, but as I think some people have already said today, we know this is going to be an evolving process, so a lot to learn. We're learning a lot more every single day about this process, so asking for adoption of this resolution and more work to be done in the future, and looking forward to that.
Good afternoon, Councilman. I'm Chairman Heenan and members of the committee. My name is Gary Hawkins. I am president of Local 1971. Local 1971 represents approximately 90 employees employed by the 3 housing agencies currently providing land acquisition and distribution services to the city. The 3 agencies are 1, PRA, Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority, 2, PHDC, Philadelphia Housing and Development Corporation, and 3, OHCD, the Office of Housing and Community Development. Local 1971 members have been performing land acquisition and distribution services for the city for over 40 years, and we have been the only employees performing this work. These employees have an absolute legal right to continue performing that work, but that point is not really in dispute. Even Land Bank recognizes that these employees represent a valuable resource, a ready, willing, and able complement of employees able to expertly perform the tasks required to make Land Bank successful. Local 1971 and the dedicated employees it represents are eager and willing to help make Land Bank a success that will benefit everyone. Before we can adequately do so, however, we need to know under what terms and conditions we will be working. In this regard, we have been working without a contract at the 3 agencies since June 30th, 2004. Over 10 years with no wage increases or benefits improvements. Before we can help Land Bank, we need to get these contracts resolved. To the mayor, the city council, and to the Land Bank board, we say, help us help you. Help us get these contract matters resolved so we can all focus on making Philadelphia more beautiful.
Is there anyone else? There's no hiding in the back there.
Thank you. I want to thank Chairman Heenan and the members of this council for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Rachel Sensenig. I'm a pastor with Circle of Hope. We meet at Broad and Washington. We're a growing church of 4 congregations who represent almost every neighborhood in the city. We are long-term residents who are interested in making Philadelphia a better place to live, and I appreciate that that's the goal of this council too. I'm also part of the coalition to take back vacant land. And it's been a great experience to work with you in forming what could be the largest land bank in the country. I appreciate all the hard work and good thinking that's gone into this process. The land bank ordinance was an important step to get land back into the hands of the community. I'm glad for that first step and hopeful about the adoption of this strategic plan today because the blight in my Northwest neighborhood continues to attract crime and drain money from the city. As a parent, that concerns me because I want my children and others to be safe walking to and from school, for example. And as a taxpayer and homeowner, it concerns me because vacant and abandoned property in Philadelphia has required $20 million in annual upkeep, deprive city coffers of $2 million in annual tax revenue, and reduce the value of our homes by an average of $8,000. I would like to see us be able to unleash the invested community groups and individuals who are ready to transform the vacant land into urban farms, safe places for kids to play, and affordable housing. Circle of Hope has discovered how urban agriculture in particular has helped to create some much needed peace and restoration in contentious areas by bringing neighbors together around the goal of improving their community and expanding access to healthy food. In order to make these positive and necessary changes in our neighborhoods, we need defined annual targets for equitable development, as the ordinance calls for. We have the responsibility to decide what type of development will occur on the acquired land and to develop 5-year goals that maintain the legislation. I appreciate the length of the process as the Land Bank Board continues to take inventory and collect important data, especially from the community. But I'm disappointed that there are currently no targets for year 1 of the plan, and I'm concerned about maintaining the long-term affordability and development that our neighborhoods need. I'm asking this council to commit to including targets in the next strategic plan that will ensure equitable development here in Philadelphia. God bless you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. The chair, Gary, Mr. Hawkins, just a few quick questions, and I'll recognize Councilwoman Blackwell. You heard some testimonies and some questions, responses from the administration regarding a contract. And, believe me, I want to thank you and all your membership and all the 3 agencies for their dedicated service and hard work that they do every day. And 10 years is way too long for working without a contract. That is unacceptable. I want to state that for the record.
Thank you.
But my question here is, do you feel comfortable in the progress that has been made moving towards some sort of contract as a part of your negotiations without specifics?
I'm going to say I represent 3 housing agencies. With one of the agencies, we have talked often, and I'm pretty certain that we can come to some type of resolution. The other 2 agencies, we've moved a little slower. The talks have been less frequent. I am confident if the time is placed aside, we can come to an agreement at all 3 agencies. My hope is just that the appropriate time is invested so that we can reach a resolution quickly so that we can move forward in this
Absolutely.
process.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, just from my observation, 10 years going without a contract, the creation of the Land Bank Board has spurred, negotiations, getting people to the table and to start some real contract negotiations. So I hope that the transition and nobody loses a job, which is, it's been stated for the record, is the end goal here, and making sure that there's less disparity or, equal for the type of, job responsibilities as things come together for Land Bank.
Right, and again, my hope is that with all 3 agencies, the talks continue. Again, with OH and PH, the conversations have been less frequent. I want to say maybe we spoke in October. So we'd like to continue to have those conversations because, again, I believe that we can come to a resolution that will satisfy everyone.
Anything that I could do as chair of this committee, anything that City Council can do to help
Yes,
speed
just
this up?
encourage that we get back to the table as quickly as possible.
Great.
My negotiating team, we're ready. We're ready tomorrow. We're ready on Wednesday. We're ready on Thursday. So we'd like to get back to the table as quickly as possible for all 3 agencies so that we can come to an amicable resolution.
Because without all 3 agencies, we can't move the city forward to where we need to be. So thank you for your time. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Blackwell.
Thank you. As you know, we asked Mr. Kuntz, and Michael, could you come forward too? And we want to ask that question. Are you authorized to continue negotiations this week with the union?
Yes, I am. However, I do want to also add that I have been meeting with leadership. I met with leadership last week, so it's not that we didn't meet with the full negotiating team, but there were things that we've been trying to iron out over the last 2 weeks so that we can have more fruitful negotiations. But the answer to that is yes.
All right, so therefore, and Mr. Hawkins, are you satisfied? You heard Mr. Kuntz. I trust Mr. Kuntz. I've known him forever. many, many, many years. And if he says he's authorized to move forward this week, then I'm sure that will happen. And you also heard his testimony about us moving forward on this legislation, but that he would not move forward until a contract is consummated. Are you satisfied with what has happened and what we've said in this hearing today?
I'm satisfied with that information. I'm satisfied with that information. I'll be more satisfied when we sit down at the table this week to talk.
Mr. Coons? All right, he's committed that that will happen this week. We're here. We do not want to move forward. It's too hard. It's 2014. We don't want to move forward unless everybody's represented. It's a labor town. We all know it. We want to make sure that you are fine. And as always, we want to make sure that inclusion is on the table for everything we do. And thank you both.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk, could you read the next panel, please?
Nancy Goldenberg, Dan Fagulin, Robin Mello.
Can you state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony? Thank you for coming.
Good afternoon, Chairman Heenan and committee members. My name is Nancy Goldenberg. I am Chief of Staff at the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. PHS is the oldest and largest horticultural society in America with over 64,000 members, most of whom are concentrated in the Philadelphia region. I'm delighted to offer PHS's strong support for Resolution 140915. PHS's mission is to motivate people to improve the quality of life and create a sense of community through horticulture. We are well known for producing the longest continuously running flower show in the country, but it is perhaps our community greening work that began in earnest in the mid-'70s that has had the greatest impact on Philadelphia's residents, and particularly our land care and community land care programs, which are nationally recognized programs developed in partnership with and supported by the city's Office of Housing and Community Development and community-based organizations. Over the last 15 years, PHS has cleaned and greened and maintained more than 6,000 vacant lots, which is more than 10 million square feet of land in Philadelphia. We've worked with community groups to stabilize another 2,100 lots. This approach has taught us that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to mitigating Philadelphia's vacancy problem. And the strategic plan for the Philadelphia Land Bank smartly highlights the diverse partnerships needed among city agencies and nonprofits in order to accomplish successful outcomes. The plan recognizes that different communities have different needs and that green space, growing space, urban agriculture, community gardens, and parks are essential elements to be included in our city's land allocation. Most significantly, the plan places a premium on community-managed open space, something that's crucial, especially in rapidly developing neighborhoods where open space may now or soon be at a premium. PHS has particularly strived for a smart, equitable set of tools to return Philadelphia's vacant land to productive use. We believe that the driving principles behind the strategic plan as it's written, particularly the goal of reinforcing open space initiatives and urban agriculture, will be tremendously valuable in our city's push to reduce vacant land. PHS's 64,000 members are very concerned that greening and open space issues are considered as Philadelphia mitigates its vacancy challenges, and we believe that the strategic plan addresses those considerations well by prioritizing community uses of vacant land while never inhibiting the development needed in the city's neighborhoods. PHS looks forward to working with City Council, the Land Bank, and all the other departments and agencies involved to help ameliorate Philadelphia's vacant land challenges and build stronger neighborhoods and a more economically competitive city. I encourage your favorable consideration of this resolution and would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoever would like to go next?
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Robin Mello, and I'm here today wearing a few hats. First, as Education and Outreach Director for the Philadelphia Orchard Project, a nonprofit which has worked with community partners to plant 37 free food-producing fruit and nut orchards throughout the city over the past 8 years. Second, as a new homeowner in Norris Square with a potential side yard on a block just on the fringes of major development from Northern Liberties, Temple, and Fishtown. And third, as an independent gardening advocate who's helped communities to start almost a dozen gardens in tax-delinquent lots throughout the city within the last 4 years. I'm proud of and excited by the amount of language, photos, and maps included in the strategic plan that highlight the need for the land bank to transfer lots as community gardens, market farms, side yards, and community open space. I cannot stress enough the importance of these land uses being prioritized on equal footing with affordable housing and market rate development, in written policy, but mostly in the land bank's actual decision-making, and especially in neighborhoods such as mine where the potential for housing, commercial development, and green space greatly overlap, and people will soon be clamoring for real estate. Without this equal prioritization, I worry that market rate development could greatly overshadow existing community uses and change the general flow of neighborhoods without their consent. There must be a high level of transparency and notice, especially through public posting on lots and in easily accessible forms of media when land bank properties are to be developed. I also believe that more security for open spaces through the land bank will translate to higher investment in them. Gardens, side yards, and community spaces that are secured through stable, long-term leases or purchased for below market rates by their stewards will naturally result in lower maintenance costs and an improved tax base for the city, greater food productivity, more aesthetically pleasing structures, the ability for residents to become more self-sufficient or profitable over time, and allow for more support from greening organizations. For example, long-term leases, conservatorships, and ownership of vacant lots would translate to more orchards that the Philadelphia Orchard Project could plant because orchards and food forests take many years to design and mature. Imagine a Philadelphia in 10 to 20 years with free orchards overflowing with a diverse array of food in every neighborhood. I understand the need for new and rehabilitated homes and businesses, as well as the bolstered revenue base for the city through those uses. However, I represent a new wave of residents following in the footsteps of generations of Philadelphians who cherish our small patches of earth, where we gather with friends and family, grow our own food, and sit comfortably under trees catching summer breezes when the heat is unbearable. Don't underestimate the importance of preserving those small patches of earth for community health and happiness, improved communication and visibility among community members, retention of active citizens, and attraction of new residents. I've spent a lot of time in major cities in the U.S., and I chose to buy a home in Philly because I believe that this is a space where I can make a mark and grow. I want to be part of shaping a Philadelphia that's socially progressive, that's striving to actually be the greenest city in the country in word and in deed, and where young people like me are excited to mold homes, careers, and families and grow into existing communities that care for each other. Please don't forget about the multiple generations of mostly silent food growers and open space lovers as you work with the Land Bank strategic plan and disposition policies. Thank you.
Ms. Fadul?
My name is Ann Fadulin. I'm president of the Building Industry Association, which represents the region's residential home builders, residential contractors, and suppliers. I'd like to thank the members of the committee for allowing us to testify regarding the strategic plan for the land bank. The BIA has been a longtime proponent of creating a land bank in Philadelphia, and we're proud of our part in advocating for the enabling legislation and now working with other stakeholders to realize the land bank's potential during this important implementation stage. The strategic plan should seek to make the most of that potential by providing a smart, comprehensible path for consolidating public land acquisition and swift disposition that accounts for a variety of public policy goals, including promoting both market rate and affordable housing development as well as other types of development. We also believe that the inclusion of implementation benchmarks is essential to determining the overall success of the land bank once it is up and running. The BIA's goal since we first called for the creation of a land bank has been to provide a predictable, accountable process for the development of vacant land. The legislation to create the land bank was a defining moment for our city. Every effort should be made to make the most of its implementation, including the strategic plan. Those responsible should embrace accountability, not hide from it, and provide clear benchmarks for themselves and obvious metrics for the public to be able to measure how successful a tool the land bank can be. The members of the Building Industry Association look forward to continuing to work with the Land Bank Board and City Council to reduce vacant land and eliminate tax delinquency to serve the development needs of the City of Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you. No questions or comments? Thank you all. Mr. Krillman, our next panel.
Tiffany Green, Benjamin Leach, Islam Sharif, and Beth McConnell.
I don't want to keep repeating the chairman's comments. Please try to be brief. We still have a number of people who would like to testify, and we are backed up in another hearing already, so. Whoever would like to start, please identify yourself and proceed.
I can start.
Whoever.
Sorry, ready?
Go ahead.
Ben Leach, I'm the Director of Advocacy for the Preservation Alliance for Greater Philadelphia. I'll try to be brief.
Please.
The Preservation Alliance is the city's primary not-for-profit historic preservation advocacy organization. As such, we recognize the dire need for a comprehensive strategy to promote the productive reuse of vacant and abandoned property across the city. The land bank, as it's currently envisioned, includes 9,000 vacant buildings that are potentially eligible for inclusion in the program. What we like about the bill, or about the land bank program, is that it is a potentially powerful neighborhood stabilization tool and a mechanism to prevent the loss of these historic buildings. What we are concerned about is what we don't know. There are approximately 10,000 properties that are on the Philadelphia Register of Historic Places or in districts, and 20,000 that are on the National Register or National Register districts, and we don't know how many of these are included in the 9,000 that might be eligible for land bank acquisition. It would be a relatively simple exercise to cross-reference the potential properties with these historic designations, and with that sort of order of magnitude known, we don't know right now if it's 5 or 50 or 500, we can better plan for appropriate acquisition and disposition policies that would take these historic certifications into account. That could include eligibility for tax credits, protection against unnecessary demolition, planning for appropriate maintenance and stabilization, et cetera. So it's a fantastic start. We would look forward to seeing more attention given to how this will interface with historic properties moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoever would like to go next?
Good afternoon. My name is Islam Sharif.
You can pull that a little closer, make it a little easy for yourself. There you go.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Islam Sharif. I'm a member of the Philadelphia Masjid Incorporated at 4700 Volusia Avenue. I'm also a member of the Board of Directors of the Philadelphia Masjid. I'm also the director of the nonprofit organization Blind Faith for You Too, and I'm the executive director of the nonprofit corporation Ghetto Incorporated, which means getting homes, education, technical training, and equal opportunity. But we're here to recognize the Philadelphia Association of Community Developers, which we are a member, and we want to recognize them for their efforts, their hard work, and we want to support them in this resolution. We have recognized them as being very strategic and supportive in building and developing all sorts of projects in the city. And I know the city knows them much as I do, as well as I do. And we want to give them our support and recognize them for their efforts. And we are asking you to make the resolution true and to give them the support that they need so that they can continue their work. We are also asking for your help because we want to be a community developer ourselves. We want to build a senior citizen home / veteran home on the 900 block of 47th Street. And we need your help and support like you're giving to Universal City with Kenny Gamble, with my Olive Baptist Church at 47 Wallace Street, with the Nicetown projects. We want to thank the Philadelphia Association of Community Development, which was really valuable in getting these projects done. And we want to walk in the footsteps of some of these giants that have gone forth. We want to thank you and recognize the Philadelphia Corporation of Community Development.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. McConnell?
Thank you. Good afternoon, other members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Beth McConnell, Policy Director with the Philadelphia Association of Community Development Corporations. As you know, PACDC was one of many groups that advocated for the creation of a land bank over a 5-year campaign, so we're very pleased to be here today. We want to start by applauding certainly Councilwoman Sanchez for her leadership in getting the bill through City Council, and also the Nutter administration and its consultant team that developed the strategic plan. This team consistently engaged PACDC and our members, as well as members of the Philly Land Bank Alliance, over the many months that this plan was developed. They listened to stakeholder input and made many changes based on the feedback they heard. And so we believe the plan that was developed establishes a strong vision for a Philadelphia land bank that strategically and proactively turns vacant properties into assets. We urge Council to approve Resolution 140915 before the end of this year and work to approve in early 2015 ordinances that will transfer existing publicly owned properties into the land bank's inventory so it can begin this important work. The plan balances the need to use vacant properties for affordable and market rate homes, as well as to create more mixed income communities, to create economic opportunities on our neighborhood commercial corridors, and to preserve and create new green space. It uses smart data to establish focus zones where those needs and opportunities are particularly strong, while directing the land bank to be open to unique opportunities in any part of the city. And it respects the neighborhood planning processes that have already been completed with strong resident input. The plan also establishes 5-year goals for property disposition and acquisition that are both aspirational and realistic if all stakeholders do their part, including the administration, council, developers, and community groups. The appendix of the strategic plan also contains revised disposition policies. We're very pleased to see revisions in those policies that remove the requirement that entities that get site control be responsible for the cost of insurance, maintenance, or utilities. This will help reduce the need for additional public subsidies for nonprofit projects. We also support new language in the policies that recognizes that potential purchasers should not be disqualified if they hold other properties with municipal liens that should have been cleared by the city long ago, but remain in place due to backlogs. PACDC advocated for language in the policies to provide greater transparency to the public about the methodology used to determine discounted prices for public land. While the final sale price will be disclosed, there is no clear guidance on how full or partial discounts are calculated. While we're disappointed those changes weren't made, we'll continue to advocate that the land bank make that information available, even though it's not required in the policies. In closing, establishing a Philadelphia land bank that is accountable, transparent, efficient, and equitable is a big job, and this strategic plan puts us well on our way. We hope the quality of the plan deepens the commitment of the administration and council to make the land bank a success, which will require that council transfer into the land bank every vacant surplus property for which there's not an active disposition process already in place. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Thank all three of you. Please come forward. Yeah, they will call it a part of it.
Okay,
Please identify yourself. And
yeah,
proceed.
hi, Tiffany Green, Concerns to the Point Breeze. This is Marie Ortiz, and she's from the Point Breeze community as well. She wants to speak. Good day, everyone. I want to speak on this because I have great, serious concerns about as to the land banking bill as it stands right now. Real quick, let's talk about some issues that may take place. Okay, there's a community called GEHO, and back in 2000, the poor and minority rate, according to the census, was approximately over 7,000 residents were living in that area. Within 10 years, by 2010, the poor and minority rate had reduced down to about 2,300. Within 10 years, these people have been moved out of their communities. This land banking bill is not taking into consideration the massive gentrification that will come to each and every one of your areas. Point Breeze has been down here for a while, to the point where I feel that we're dinosaurs at this point. However, I think at this particular point that you do not really understand our plight, So when it comes in your backyard, you will understand now what we have been talking about all along. Real quick, what this land banking bill does not address, one, there is no incentive for a developer to build low-wage affordable housing. We cannot sit here and depend on nonprofit developers, for-profit developers, and nonprofit and CDC to build affordable housing because the funding is drying up all over the place. So therefore, if they don't have the funding to build, then who's going to build? Developers right now have stated, and a known developer just stated in the Daily News on November 28th, I think it was, stating that they only want to build market rate housing. They only want to build 3-story, these type of mini mansion market rate housing. So where is the incentive for them to build with these 32,000 parcels you're talking about that's going to reach into each one of your areas, and you have no incentive for them to build low-wage housing? On top of that, what about the 10-year tax abatement? All these people are getting 10-year tax abatement. When are you going to address this? They're going to have 10-year tax abatement. But when these people build these houses and they move people in there, you got to have additional trash pickup, police services, fire services. Who's going to pay for all this? You have not addressed the 10-year tax abatement issue here. So how can you sit here and say we're going to pat each other on the back regarding 32,000 parcels and we're going to move forward with community gardens and all this? Who's going to pay for all these services that are going to bring in these people into their community? The other thing, no demolition regarding demolition and environmental safety. When these buildings are knocked down, right now you're only testing for asbestos. You're not testing for contamination and all of these other issues that go along with these industrial buildings as well as residential buildings. Who's going to pay for all that contamination building? You do not have anything in your bill regarding demolitions to even address the contaminations that may come from some of these buildings that have been sitting there for years and years and years. On top of that, right now, most of the people in the community cannot really even afford. You have people making low wage, like $7.75 up to maybe $12 an hour. So they may not even afford to purchase these houses. What do you have in place? We're asking for community boards, number one. According to the CDC, in order to keep the health concerns of people living in gentrified areas, they need to be a part of the process. We're asking for community boards. These are people who help you get elected. We're talking about block captains. We're talking about committee people. We're talking about residents. You do not have them as part of the process. You have these sophisticated organizations who are sitting up here who want to get these, and many of them do not even live in the neighborhood.
Ms. Green, I'm going to have to ask you to
I'm finishing
wrap
up.
up, okay? Because we want to be fair to everybody.
Excuse me. You asked us to give you what is wrong with the bill. I'm going to give you.
We want to give everybody the same amount of time.
My point is that we're asking for community bill, real quick, I just want to give my 5-phase plan. I think community boards, and one is that we set up land banking subcommittees in each areas, okay? And this will allow that once you have a community board, the people will come to the community board and they would then say what they want to do with the properties in the area. At that particular point, the community board would decide if they're going to move them forward downtown to be heard in front of the, I guess, larger board at that particular point. One, people who are taking care of the property there are people who have been taking care of gardens who are very angry because the properties were sold from underneath them, and we're saying they should get first choice. Second choice should go to near neighbors. Near neighbors or neighbors who live on the block or live in the area. They should be able to get these properties first if they can afford it and they have the money with a plan. They would then make a presentation.
Green, I have to call you on time because we want to be fair to everybody.
All right, real quick. One more thing.
I got to call you on time.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Ortiz,
I'll submit it in.
before you go, I'm going to ask Mr. Krillman, because you were scheduled for the next panel. I'm going to ask Mr. Krillman and call the other names for that same panel.
Thank you very much. I'll submit that in to you.
Please.
All right? You always cut me off, but you didn't cut anybody else off.
No, well, you were going a little longer than most.
No, I'm not going
Okay, hold on one second.
longer than anybody else.
Mr. Krillman?
Okay.
Nicole Sugarman, Thomas Earl, Jeff Carpenter.
Don't be biased.
Ms. Ortiz, stay there. You're part of this. That's what I was saying. You're part of this panel, okay? In fact, you can start. Please identify yourself and proceed as the other members are coming up.
You should keep your personal bias to yourself. I don't appreciate
My
being
name is
cut off.
Marie Ortiz.
Thank you.
I'm in the South Philadelphia area. I don't have nothing written down on paper, but I'm
Just a little closer to the microphone. We're having.
I have nothing written down on paper, but I'm talking about what's going on all over the city. My thing is, I'm a grandmother, mother. My kids went to college and everything. I live in South Philly. There's not enough affordable homes. We have a developer building high-end houses, and he also said he's not building affordable housing. What are you doing to protect me as a long-term citizen who's been putting into my area, and the schools. There's no school in the area. They done closed them down. My grandchild has to go all the way to Center City, Northeast to school. These things need to be addressed. I mean, the land banking should be for the people who live within the community. If not, what I'm asking is, when these developers do come into the area, make it so they can build affordable housing. If they got $1 billion, if they're making $85 billion, each of them should at least build 20 homes, affordable homes that for somebody who's making $750 and $1050. That's all I'm asking. We need help. We say we're a city of brotherly love. What I've been seeing, money. Money's not the issue. We got to remember, each of us is getting older, and each of us want to live in our home. And if we keep bringing these billion-dollar conglomerate into the neighborhood all over the city, we're lost out, and that's all I'm asking. Something to be considered for low-income, working-class people all over the city that need help, not with all high-end houses, and nobody wants to build affordable housing. That's what I'm asking for. Thank you, and bless you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Councilman Heenan, Chairperson of the committee, and fellow City Council members. My name is Thomas Earl. I'm the CEO of Liberty Resources, which is the Center for Independent Living for people with disabilities living in Philadelphia. I'm also testifying today as the current chairperson of the Philadelphia Commission on Human Relations, because accessible and affordable housing for seniors, working families, and people with disabilities, including low-income households, is very important to the Commission and its Community Relations Division. The majority of consumers that Liberty serves want to live independently in their own homes and remain in the community, but their ability to do so often depends on the availability of safe, affordable, and physically accessible housing throughout all areas of the city. Another obstacle to remaining in the community is financial. Many of the consumers that Liberty Resources serves are people with physical disabilities that live on low fixed monthly incomes, such as Social Security income and Social Security disability income. One of our top priorities is also helping people with disabilities move out of nursing homes like Philadelphia Nursing Home, and the lack of affordable housing is often an obstacle. Liberty Resources Housing Development Corporation, to this end, has developed very affordable housing with the assistance of Councilman Jones at 55th and Vine Street, 13 accessible units, and also a new project with the support of Councilwoman Blackwell at 55th and Poplar that will build 24 units of affordable housing, 6 of which will be accessible to people with disabilities. It's innovative approaches like this, reusing city property that sits vacant or blighted, that can be put to good use, that is a prudent policy that the strategic plan addresses. However, while we support the strategic plan, we'd like to recommend a friendly amendment today that will address specific sections under 16709A, which requires an analysis that shall, not may, but shall specifically evaluate the relative need and availability for affordable or mixed income housing that is accessible or visitable. Another section, 16709C, requires specific goals that shall include defined targets for the share of future housing units to be built on public properties affordable to different income ranges of very low, low, and moderate income. These specific goals are absent from this plan. It's something that can be easily fixed, and we ask that it be amended or that the future plans be developed in a way that address these specific income goals. The housing crisis in Philadelphia, as some folks have testified earlier, is not because there's a lack of moderate to high income housing. There's a lack of affordable housing for people with disabilities and other low-income working families.
Earl, if you can,
Yes.
kind of wrap
Yes,
it up here.
and for this reason, We do support the plan, and we're excited to be part of not only the Take It Back Vacant Land campaign, but also the Philadelphia Coalition for Affordable Communities. Thank you very much.
And thank you. And you could submit
Yes.
your request over to the table behind me. And thank you. You state your name for the record and proceed, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Sugarman, and I've been an urban farmer and food educator for 9 years. As the Director of Food Access for the East Park Revitalization Alliance, I tend vegetable gardens and help kids and adults learn to grow food and maintain their own gardens. I work with both the Philadelphia Coalition for Affordable Communities and the Healthy Foods Green Spaces Coalition because I am passionate about supporting a diverse, equitable, and healthy city. I am excited to support a land bank that prioritizes equitable, community-led land uses, especially in neighborhoods undergoing gentrification. I find my work as an urban farmer and food educator worthwhile, not only because of the tangible benefits that growing or accessing local foods brings to people's lives, including improved health and money saved on grocery bills, but because of gardens' incredible ability to build community and bring people together. One garden I support was started close to 30 years ago by a veteran of the Korean War and his wife, who have lived on the same block in Strawberry Mansion since the 1950s. As they age, they need more help to maintain the garden, and I was particularly worried one week last summer because the wife, who does the bulk of the gardening since her husband's eyesight has been in decline, had just returned from emergency heart surgery. I hurried over to her garden to make sure she had the help she needed and that she wasn't straining herself too much when she was supposed to be resting. To my joy and relief, I found the whole block pitching in to support her. A middle-aged man who enjoyed hot peppers from the garden was weeding, the woman next door with whom she shared greens was helping to harvest tomatoes and eggplants, and a middle school-age girl from down the block was planting kale transplants under the older woman's supervision. Seeing the whole block come together to support the garden and its caretakers reminded me why I feel so strongly that gardens are important. The gardens become spaces where people meet new neighbors, learn from each other, and end up working together both in the garden and without. Community gardens' benefits are both broad and remarkable. Peer-reviewed studies have found that gardens have been linked to reductions in crime, trash dumping, fires, violent deaths, mental illness, and stress, as well as increases in residents' perceived feelings of safety and community civic engagement. I would like to praise the Land Bank Strategic Plan for prioritizing the preservation of existing gardens, as well as working with new gardeners to obtain land through lease or purchase. Creating a garden, farm, or green space requires considerable outputs of time, physical and mental energy, and money. I would like to emphasize the importance of long-term, non-revocable leases in encouraging gardeners and community groups to invest in a piece of land. I am excited about the land bank as a means to build resilient and diverse communities that meet the needs of their members, including new and existing gardens and farms, affordable, accessible housing, and job creation. While I have confidence that the land bank ordinance was written to support community needs, the strategic plan does not altogether reflect that. The strategic plan does not define annual targets for equitable development, a step that creates an important opportunity for community input and transparency. Setting clear, specific targets for land disposition will ensure long-term affordability and the creation of community gardens and farms. I look forward to supporting and working with a land bank that makes equity, transparency, and accountability real priorities as it operates. I ask that you make a commitment to include targets in the next strategic plan that will ensure equitable development and community land use. I appreciate the extremely hard work that has gone into this legislation plan, and I'm excited to continue to work with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Clerk, last panel? Oh, we got one more?
Thanks.
You're going to apologize if you could
Yeah, no,
summarize
I'm
it.
here to honor your earlier request. I'm not going to read my bit.
Thank you.
Jeff
It will be submitted for the record.
It's been done. Jeff Carpenter, president of Arcadia Commons, a nonprofit organization that was formed 3 years ago to try and acquire 16 empty lots in East Kensington to make a park and urban farm. I think that the strategic plan as proposed is great for its intention and those things that it says it will do. We've heard testimony earlier that it actually won't do the things that it says it will do. The various agencies that hold city-owned lots right now won't necessarily turn them all over, as the strategic plan says it will. But more specifically, I'm worried about methodology of acquiring these lots, we have experience of putting into sheriff's sale 2 lots 2 years ago. And we were told that they would go through the legal process. Linebarger would do the necessary work within 6 to 9 months. 2 years later, it still had not happened. And during that time, what had been a blighted neighborhood suddenly became of interest to developers. The Frontier had moved up Frankfurt Corridor and arrived, and suddenly lots that were empty lots that were valued at $3,000 selling at $3,000. One of our lots sold for $35,000. And there was no way that we could address the issue of those lots that were going into sheriff's sale, which were suddenly being picked off by developers, even though we had the support, the avid support of our councilperson, Mark Squilla, to put these lots into condemnation process. As we were in discussion, a developer went and actually found these absentee owners and bought these lots out from underneath us. So I think that the City Council should form some sort of appropriate investigation into the legal process that will be concomitant with any kind of strategy, any kind of plan, and to see if there's a way to reform this turgid process which can take so long for the legal clearing that's necessary for any of this. And I suggest that you add an amendment that the land bank be able to freeze the sale of any lot that it expresses an intention on, so that during this legal process, nothing gets taken out from under the intention. Obviously, there's good intentions and bad. There's intentions towards the community and towards developers. Those intentions that are towards the community, make sure they don't get away from you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Clerk, last panel.
Elisa Roos Esposito, Diane Kornman Levy, Jenny Greenberg, and Amy Kahn.
Before you start the testimony, is there anyone else that wishes to testify here? Please. Please get ready to come up next. You can say your name for
Great. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Diane Kornman Levy. On behalf of the Mayor's Food Policy Advisory Council, known as FPAC, I strongly recommend that City Council approve the 2015 proposed strategic plan and disposition policy of the Philadelphia Land Bank. Our biggest concerns are that the land bank be fully resourced so it may fulfill the promises of the strategic plan, and the land disposition policies be implemented consistently across land holding agencies to finally create the predictable and equitable process that we need. In order to facilitate implementation, we encourage the mayor and city council to consider appointing to the Permanent Land Bank Board an individual with expertise on open spaces like greening, gardening, and other forms of urban agriculture. The FPAC was appointed by Mayor Nutter in 2011 and tasked with advising the city on how to be a productive partner in the regional food system and how to improve food access. We see the potential of the land bank to advance the goals of FPAC, the Philadelphia Food Charter, and GreenWorks. In particular, FPAC values the commitment outlined in the legislation to ensure that public land be used to enhance and create benefits for the public. The land bank ordinance and now the strategic plan recognizes urban agriculture as one of a range of end uses essential to creating healthy and sustainable communities, and you certainly have heard from several people saying how important that is. It also will build on the progress of Philadelphia's new zoning code to create a framework and enhance opportunities for local production of healthy, affordable, and culturally appropriate food. The Land Bank Strategic Plan could do significant work to move urban agriculture and community-managed open space opportunities forward in the city of Philadelphia. Portions of the plan that are critical to this work include the following. In goals 1 and 5 and throughout the document, the plan recognizes Philadelphia residents as active land stewards and the investment put into community-tended spaces, as well as the fragility of spaces that are not legally secured. In Goal 1, the plan defines the objective to preserve existing community gardens, and in Goal 6, creates guiding criteria such that properties already in use as active and maintained community gardens and market farms will be protected. In Goals 1 and 5, the plan creates frameworks for new projects, including larger-scale market farms and destination gardens that could serve residents throughout the city. These goals respond to ongoing community need, interest, and capacity for growth. Finally, the plan draws a connection between community-managed urban agriculture and green stormwater management projects, a connection that has the potential to expand opportunities for both. FPAC's mission has been integrated into the equity goal in GreenWorks, the Mayor's Office's Sustainability Citywide Comprehensive Plan to make Philadelphia the greenest city in the country. Several of the goals in the Land Bank Strategic Plan align with GreenWorks Target 10 to provide walkable access to affordable, healthy food for all Philadelphians. Goal 5 will contribute directly to Target 10 by supporting the creation of new gardens, farms, and farmers markets on vacant land. Goal 4 highlights the issue of food deserts and the critical role supermarkets play in these areas, a role that represents the intersection of economic development equity. Finally, Goal 6 emphasizes the importance of transparent public discourse and participation regarding current and future land bank plans and operations. In keeping with the GreenWorks equity goal, FPAC emphasizes the importance of public meetings, printed documents, on-site notices, and targeted outreach to the region, to registered community organizations serving Philadelphia neighborhoods to ensure that those with limited internet access continue to have a voice. FPAC encourages the Land Bank to work with the Office of Innovation and Technology to make land bank data sources open and accessible, and FPAC encourages the development of strategies to engage residents in neighborhoods that have not had the opportunity to develop a district, area, or community-based plan. We appreciate your consideration of our recommendations, and we urge Council to pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ann Preston, and I'm the Program Assistant for the Farm Philly program of Philadelphia's Department of Parks and Recreation. I'm speaking on behalf of Elisa Roos Esposito, Farm Philly's Program Manager, who lost her voice today. I'd like to thank City Council and Interface for crafting such a thoughtful, strategic plan that really emphasizes public input, and would like to encourage City Council and the Land Bank to prioritize public input in the implementation process as much as it has been integral to the planning process. Guided by the GreenWorks plan and under the direction of the Deputy Mayor and Philadelphia Parks and Recreation Commissioner Michael DeBernardinis, we've created an urban agriculture program within the city of Philadelphia that upholds gardening not only as a recreational activity, but seeks to protect it as a valued community asset. The subsequent program, Farm Philly, has many components. We have a youth farming program, Junior Farmers, that serves over 600 youth in recreation centers around the city, and we will be doubling in size to serve over 1,200 youth at 30 different garden sites in 2015. But most relevant to the Land Bank, we are working to create preservation pathways for community gardens across all neighborhoods in Philadelphia. Philadelphia Parks and Recreation seeks to become the front door for urban ag on public land by helping to craft supportive public policies and systems that will help citizens gain access to land, water, and resources for the purpose of improving their communities through gardening and open space. Philadelphia's Land Bank will be a great partner in advancing this work. The Land Bank provides an incredible opportunity to preserve long-term community assets, protect open space, and prioritize public use as the city grows and changes. The original bill emphasizes the importance of urban agriculture, and the strategic plan continues to establish gardening as a valuable long-term land use for the benefit of the public good. It's important that Land Bank implementation carries out the original purpose and intent of the Land Bank bill, putting vacant land into productive and positive public uses. Farm Philly and Parks and Recreation are looking forward to working with the Land Bank staff to advance these projects and are excited to see this entity achieve its full potential.
Thank you for your testimony.
Hi, my name is Amy Laura Khan. I'm a staff attorney with the Public Interest Law Center, Philadelphia. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I will try to be quick. My blood sugar is low, too. This past summer, my office convened Philadelphia gardeners and farmers to participate in the Land Bank strategic plan process. I'm here today to voice my support for the proposed strategic plan and policies. There are others who've talked today about the substance. I want to spend a moment on the process. The strategic plan was the result of significant public participation. In fact, this planning process exceeded expectations. Interface Studio and the Land Bank staff worked hard within a condensed schedule to provide multiple opportunities to offer feedback and suggestions. Furthermore, the process culminated in a large and well-attended public hearing. The SEPTA boardroom was packed, and many provided verbal and written testimony, including several who spoke about urban ag and open space. As you consider whether to pass this resolution, it's important to know that the plan evolved because individuals and organizations stepped up to participate and the planners listened. The plan directly reflects meaningful changes made as a result of public feedback. I think that's hugely important as you consider this plan. Now, as to what happens next. You heard from several about the need, the fact that the plan lacks targets for each of the priority end uses and that subsequent plans should include these targets. I agree. Even modest targets will help the public understand how the Land Bank Board views the different priorities relative to each other and how they intend to allocate resources across different uses. Second, we need a permanent Land Bank Board. We need that board that could consist of the existing interim board, but we need that board made permanent to shepherd the strategic plan into action. I also will suggest, as others, as I believe Diane did as well, that the board needs someone with expertise on urban ag and open space to reflect the priorities set up by the plan. Third, we need opportunities for community engagement and education about the land bank. My testimony includes a quote from the Center for Community Progress study about land banks and the need for community input. I won't read that, but we'll just say that our office, along with PHS and the Healthy Foods Green Spaces Coalition and other partners, are hosting a Vacant Land 201 workshop tomorrow. We have 99 people signed up. People are clamoring for this information about how to get legal access to land and to fully understand the impact of the land bank, the impact that the land bank may have on their neighborhood. Councilwoman Quinona Sanchez began offering land bank town halls in her district, and I want to recommend that as a model, as well as using the district planning process, because people need to understand and have engagement to ensure equitable access to land itself and to build trust in the land bank's role in our city. Yes. And finally, I just want to ask that you all buy in. You need to use the land bank for us to be able to use it as well. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. State your name for the record and proceed
Sure.
with your testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Jenny Greenberg. I serve as the Executive Director of the Neighborhood Gardens Trust. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. NGT is the largest land trust in the city of Philadelphia. It's our mission to acquire and preserve community gardens and shared open spaces in order to enhance the quality of life in neighborhoods throughout the city. I'm here to speak in support of Resolution 140915. NGT has acquired and preserved 34 gardens since our inception by holding the lease or long-term deed or long-term lease for these properties. NGT provides gardens with assistance in the form of liability insurance, technical assistance, as well as funding for capital improvements and maintenance. We were pleased recently to have the opportunity to provide input into the Year 1 strategic plan for the Philadelphia Land Bank. I'd like to extend our appreciation to the plan's authors for the strong work that they did to incorporate the input of gardeners into this plan. On behalf of NGT, I support the adoption of the plan and in particular endorse its recognition of community gardens as an important piece of the puzzle in the return of land to productive use in the city of Philadelphia. Successful community gardens and other open spaces should not solely be viewed as transitional uses, but permanent ones that serve as a community anchor and leverage neighborhood revitalization. Community gardens beautify our city and enhance its sustainability. They create opportunities for urban residents to engage with one another and to reconnect with the land. NGT is poised to work with the Philadelphia Land Bank, other city agencies, and the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society to realize several goals set forth in the strategic plan. These include the acquisition and preservation of existing gardens that have support and a track record, but do not have secure site control for the future. The consolidation of property ownership for gardens that sit atop land owned by multiple owners under one owner, and the establishment of new community-driven open spaces and greening projects, including passive park spaces, community gardens, urban agriculture, and green stormwater infrastructure projects. We look forward to the opportunity to work in partnership with the Philadelphia Land Bank in the coming months. Thank you for the opportunity to make comment today.
Thank you for your testimony. Last panel.
Mr. Chairman, might I note that we have Michael Johns, Philadelphia Housing Authority, who's here with us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for allowing me to come up. Although I did register on your website, I don't know why my name wasn't there. And by the way, I think you have an excellent website, Councilman Heenan. Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Public Property and Public Works Committee. My name is Jihad Ali. I'm a citizen of Philadelphia. I'm here to give testimony on City Council adoption of 140915, the Strategic Disposition Policy. I want to thank Councilwoman Sanchez and you also, Councilman Heenan, because something occurred this summer. I can't tell you the exact date, but there was a meeting with the Land Bank professional, the consultant across the hall. And when the consultant had told you and the councilwoman that they were of the opinion that they were going to meet with the 80 stakeholders, and that then they were just going to move to the next stage, it was you that said, hold up for a minute, slow down, I think you need to bring this in front of the people. So as a result of that, we had the hearing on July the 15th. So on July 15th, at that hearing, now, what I'm about to say will mean absolutely nothing to anybody in here unless you know the act that the state legislature passed, and unless you know the bill that the council passed, and unless you read all the other supplemental documents that accompany various reports online about land banks. But at that meeting, when we had this land bank, the board of the land bank you picked 11 people, 10 and 11th one was picked by you. The board says, the act says that a majority of the board members have to make decisions. Well, we had the hearing on July 15th. There was 3 board members there. Michael Kuntz, Jennifer Cates, and I can't think who the other person was right now. But at the end of the day, it was only 3 out of 11. And we had a public hearing when all the same people here came. I am in support of the land bank. I think the land bank is a great tool. I think it gives this council tremendous opportunities. You know, I'm kind of concerned about, President Reagan said it like this. He said, it's not what you know that concerns me, it's what you think you know that's not so. And by that I mean, when I've heard the testimony of the officials from OECD talk, you asked them, what is the relationship with PHDC? Well, what I heard them say was, well, the land bank is a quasi-agency. Well, that's exactly what the act says. It's a quasi-agency. So, but you asked, what is his relationship with PHDC? Well, PHDC, Mr. Kuntz is the executive vice president of PHDC. However, he's the chairman of the land bank. But also at PHDC is Deborah McCullough and Ken Weinstein, who is an important figure to think about in the city because he's a developer. But he's the president of PHDC. So then we look at OHCD. You got John Carpenter and the rest of their people there. And then you have Brian Abernathy at the RDA. So we move forward and we do all this stuff. This council had a big fight. Ms. Sanchez, she went tooth and nail with the council president a year ago, almost 364 days ago, or 362 days ago from today, but they had a big fight. And the community came out full force. We had 11 meetings over this. And at that time, the whole issue was, did you want councilmatic prerogative? You wanted it, they didn't want it. So at the end of the day, there was a compromise. You kept it, you kept the VPR board, you kept all that, because that's what the act wanted to do. The act, as approved by the legislators, was to give city council power. It wasn't to give power to the quasi-agencies, because Councilman Heenan, I'm sure you're familiar with John Taylor. And there's no way in your mind that you know that John Taylor wanted to give the mayor power over that board. In fact, if you go back and look at how the bill came through the legislator up there, you'll see numerous times when it was crossed out, the mayor, the mayor, the mayor. It was crossed out because it was not only crossed out for Philadelphia, but the entire state. Because this act is supposed to give power to the people. In fact, we're supposed to have a citizen on that committee that can voice the concerns of everything that you heard here today. But what we have the chair, we have the vice president of PHDC on the board, and we have who is the chairman, and then we have the president, who is Paul Bender. Who is Paul Bender? What name have you heard is Paul Bender? Well, he's a member of BIA. BIA is not even a nonprofit. They're a business league, and their sole purpose of the business league is to look out for the affairs of their members. So at the end of the day, if you want to see where we're going, look back where we came. We had a year of organizational structure where nothing went down. Then we talk about transparency. I got 2 paragraphs. We talked about transparency. We hear time after time, transparency. But the act itself that you passed talked about public access to records. The act that's passed by the Senate talks about public records that Section 65 of the Pennsylvania statute says, Chapter 7, this is open meeting. That should be in the language. It's not in your language. It also says at the Act of Public Law 6, number 3, February 14, 2008, the right to know. That's not in the language. But the most important thing that you're getting ready to pass right now, if you think you're passing something for the land bank to dispose of properties, the documents are right in front of you. It says that the strategic disposition policy the committee will have a real estate review committee. And the real estate review committee are the agencies of the Office of Community Development, Redevelopment Authority, Public Property, PHDC, City Planning, and the Land Bank. They're the ones to make the decisions. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. This is a strategic disposition plan, is a final brilliant strategy to take the power away from City Council and give complete control to the mayor and his appointees on various housing agencies. If you pass this out without holding this up in committee and demanding the oversight of your body to have this board comply with the Land Bank Act as authorized by the state, and your own City Council resolution as amended on the floor on 12/5/2013, you will be acknowledging to the citizens of Philadelphia that you are not as informed as you should be. And you will also be reaffirming what President Reagan said. It's not what you know that concerns me, it's what you think you know that's not so. You need to really check out this act before you pass it.
Thank you, Mr. Holly. Is there any other testimonies here that wish to be heard? With that, seeing none, we will move into our public hearing. Into our public meeting. Chair recognizes Vice Chair Greenlee for a motion on the resolution number 140915.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that resolution number 140915 be reported out as committee with a favorable recommendation.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Resolution number 140915 will be reported out of committee with a favorable recommendation. Chair recognizes Councilman Greenlee on bill number an amendment to bill number 140897.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the adoption of the amendment to bill number 140897.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Bill number 140897 as amended. Is amended. Chair recognizes Councilman Greenlee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the following bills be reported out as committee with a favorable recommendation, and that the rules of council be suspended to allow for first reading our next session of council. Bill numbers 140229, 140275, 140800, 140885, 140897 as amended, 140940, 140946, and 140949.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The bill numbers as read and as amended are reported out of committee with a favorable recommendation as to be read at with a rule suspension as to be read at our next council session. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your patience. Let's go eat.
Thank you for lunch.
Yeah.
Is he buying it for us?
Himself as well. I mean, as soon as he made the penalty, then he just hustled off the field, right? Locker room. I don't like this guy. Plus, he's like doing the bit.